I don't know why it didn't go. Oh.
This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
With your host, Brandon Tierney. In 3, 2, 1.
God. Oh, my God. Man, I've seen a lot of wacky, amazing, nutty stuff. I mean, last night's top of the list. What's going on, everybody? Wow, what a win by the Knicks and what an epic collapse by the Cavaliers. My goodness. You know what's crazy, too? Now, I was thinking about this the other day, right? When I was running down the NFL schedule and all the international games, which drive me nuts, right? And you go back to opening day and the Yankees were on Netflix and, oh, hey, Yankees, Red Sox, are they on Apple tonight? Are they on Prime? Oh, what channel is the NFL on? Oh, how much is this ticket price? Oh, so-and-so wants a jersey for their birthday. How much is that? Think about the complaints that we have. And they've been piling up a lot. Like the last 5, 10, 15 years, it's really gotten out of whack. There's an imbalance. What I think a lot of times, too often, really, quite frankly, what the fan gives out and then what the fan gets back. But last night was another example, another amazing reminder that there's really just nothing like sport. I don't care what show you're into. I don't care what movie you go see. I don't care what Broadway production you're into. There's just nothing like it. And there is no script. Obviously, there is a timer, so sometimes time is going to run out. But, you know, you are there, and as a Knick fan, you are despondent. And as a Cavalier fan, you are energized after coming off a 7-game series win that you weren't really supposed to win. And, you know, big dogs for the series, big dog for game 1, 7.5 points, which, by the way, maybe the most amazing part of the night is that the Knicks actually found a way to cover the spread. What? I mean, you know, it's just, there's nothing like sport. And when you give that much, you know, right now, you're a Cavaliers fan. You were walking around and you are. Now, we're all exhausted because there's no way you go to bed after the game. I mean, I'm watching MSG. I'm watching Sports Night. I'm up. I just didn't sleep much last night at all. And I know that was on the euphoric side. I've been on the other side, whether it's Jet playoff losses or Yankees collapse into the Red Sox or, you know, last year, Halliburton shot, dinging basically the roof and then dropping where you can't fall asleep for the other reason because it's torment. And this is what it gives you. It gives you this, it's equal parts unpredictable and, you know, euphoric joy and the lowest level despondency. And this is what makes being a sports fan everything that comes with being a sports fan. I listen, I don't know how the hell they won that game. I really don't. I know one of the reasons that they did win, I can certainly tell you this, is because Kenny Atkinson, who I think is a great coach, was just painfully asleep at the wheel. Can you imagine if Mike Brown is sitting at that press conference last night and the Knicks have a 22-point lead with 7 minutes to 22-minute point lead with 7 minutes to go, and it's withering away and it's dissipating and it's shrinking, and all of a sudden, boom, now you're behind. Boom, now it's overtime. Boom, now you score 3 points and you lose going away, and you willfully elected not to call timeouts. Like, it's not like there was some crazy half-court shot or just an inexplicably bad call by the ref that you couldn't review. You had multiple points to stop the hemorrhage, or at least try to. And it's inconceivable to me that a coach who's really, I think he's really good. As I said, going into the series, I think he's got an advantage over Mike Brown. I think the Knicks are better, and I think Mike Brown's fine, but I think Kenny is a better coach than Mike Brown. And, like, if this role was flipped, J-Rod, what would I be saying today if the shoe was on the other foot today?
And the Knicks had blown this lead?
what would be going on the show today? I have no idea what I'd
we
say.
we might need another reevaluation. Oh my goodness.
God almighty. I don't know how you keep James Harden on Jalen Brunson. I just don't know how you do it.
I don't even know what you do at this point in the series to keep him in the games. I mean, obviously offensively, he's going to be, well, let's say last night he wasn't so dynamic offensively, but he'll have a game or two. But dude, when you have it might have been at least 12 points straight scored at your footstep, at your doorstep, at the doorstep of James Harden.
Yeah.
That is just unacceptable.
Listen, man, I don't, it is what it is. We've seen enough of James Harden. If I'm trying to do something I haven't done since 1973, which is win a championship, I want James Harden on the other team who's in my way to get to the next stop. This is basically a decade-long, for one of the great scorers in NBA history, one of the great three-level scorers in NBA history. This guy, like the way he implodes, it is laughable. Donovan Mitchell not touching the ball. The Knicks last night, as they start the run with 7 minutes and 42 seconds to go, and they're down by the 22 points here, the Knicks had a 0.01% chance to win the game. You've seen these advanced analytics where you've got the rolling graph like 12%, 9%. I mean, I've even seen situations that were incredibly improbable where it's 1%. This is much less than 1%. How the Knicks won, number one, it's a testament to the way they're connected. It's a testament to their leadership. It's a testament to the greatness of Jalen Brunson. But it's also a testament to some coaching things that Mike Brown that are very easily just based on some of the other bigger ticket items within the game, Brunson and Bridges, but his decision to sit down Josh Hart and play Shamet and open up the spacing when you're down that amount of points and you got to start banging triples and you've got to basically say, Jalen, go get bucket after bucket after bucket. You cannot have, and I love Josh Hart. This is not a knock on Josh Hart. If the Knicks win a championship, he's going to be in the middle of it more times than not for sure. Massive respect, warrior, one of my favorite Knicks this century by far. I love everything that he represents, but his deficiencies would have really gotten in the way of what the Knicks had to do. And I didn't even really plan on invoking Tom Thibodeau's name here, but now maybe you could say, well, they wouldn't have been down by 22 points with 7:40 to go if Tom's coaching the team. Who the hell knows that? But I'm pretty positive. I'm pretty sure I know that Josh Hart would have been staying on the court and Shamet would have been nailed to the bench. Yep. And not only did Shamet hit a couple of the shots, but that spacing opportunity, which is paramount, especially for Brunson. Now, it did morph into hero ball. And if you watch like the first half of this game, which of course you did, I think the Knicks kind of, now maybe a little bit of rust. I'm not going to go nuts here, but the Knicks resemble the team that I didn't trust and I didn't believe in way too much during the season. So when they go to the half, right, Cavaliers were winning by 2, and the Cavaliers trailed by as many as 11. And I'm looking at, and I do this a lot with St. John's because when we come back from the halftime break, Mink will say we do a sponsored segment, 3 keys to the game to start. Yep. And then we revisit during the half. I know you've heard a couple of the games, right? And I'll go back to things that I pointed out to start the game just to kind of see where we are, right? So I always make notations, and that's just what I do, right? And at halftime, this is basic stuff. I really wasn't worried because I'm like, but if you looked at the tweet, and I'll tell you that in a minute, I was not fully convinced that the Knicks were going to bust out of this slumber. And I'll tell you why. They were shooting horrendously. They were 2 for 19 from downtown. They weren't getting to the free throw line. They had 4 attempts. That changed, although they missed a bunch with the Mitch and the Hack-a-Mitch and all that stuff, right? Brunson hit no free throws down the stretch. It was all jump shots and drives. They were -4 rebounding at the half. And the only thing that really favored the Knicks was that the Cavs were very sloppy with the ball. And the Cavaliers had double-digit turnovers in the first half, and the Knicks were +4. But as I evaluated what I watched, and then, all right, the heavy legs, how's that going to manifest itself in half number 2? Like, I fully expected that the Knicks would, go on a nice little run and eventually pull away, probably cover the number, and win, 107, 102. Well, that wouldn't have covered the spread, but 111, 102, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I did tweet. I said, hey, listen, guys, the good news is the Knicks can play a whole heck of a lot better based on the numbers I just gave you, but so can the Cavaliers. Like, the Cavaliers missed a boatload of open. Now, they hit more threes in the first half than the Knicks did, but they were not on point. They were throwing the ball around very, very recklessly. And it's one of those things. It's one of those magic nights, those magic moments that you can't script, even though with Brunson, we kind of come to expect it a little bit, which is almost utterly unfair to think that we think that Jalen Brunson can continue to pull this off, and he does. Now, I don't think the Knicks are going to win a championship this way. As great as Brunson is, they got to find a way to get back to, who they were, most of the Hawks series, the entire Sixers series. And I don't even want to really get into this now. This will probably be more tomorrow as we get ready for game 2 tomorrow night. But Karl-Anthony Towns has to start playing better. He's a little disengaged. He's just not getting much done. That foul, I'm pretty sure it was Evan Mobley. He grabbed his arm. Dude, what are you doing? In the middle of this great run by Jalen Brunson, it's one thing if you box out a little bit too aggressively and unintentionally, like you catch an elbow and it's above the chin or it's at the chin, above the neck. You literally grab his arm. Like, what? It's an absence of focus that is, I'm not trying to bury Cat because he's played so well, but we're starting to see a little bit of regression here. It's not one game. It's not 2 games. Last night he picked up the early foul right away, was able to navigate that, but didn't play a great game. And they didn't really need him to play a great game because Mikal Bridges, massive respect. I mean, carrying the mail. I mentioned Shamet, hitting threes, just insane stuff. Now, listen, here's the thing. I know it's a little bit early for this, right? But I said, was it with Tiki or Sal? It was with Sal. And I remember we went back and forth. He loves Patrick. So do I. I mean, I love Patrick Ewing, right? The big fella. He's one of my all-time favorite athletes ever for all sports encompassing. But I made the early observation, and I stand by it, that Jalen Brunson impacts winning more than Patrick Ewing ever did. Now, there's some subtext there, okay? Pat didn't have the shooters and the spacing, and it was a different NBA. And obviously, when you're a center, you're dependent upon somebody, Derek Harper, early on, Mark Jackson, Greg Anthony, whomever, getting you the ball in the right spot. You're getting double teamed. If you're constantly double teamed, then you kick it out. And Starks is 2 for 12, or, nobody else is really a big-time three-point threat outside of maybe Hubert Davis for a year or two. Like, there was only so much Patrick could do, and it was a very different NBA. But Patrick's deficiencies, whether passing out of the double or, pretty sloppy with his hands. And if you remember watching Patrick, you remember that. Missed a lot of key free throws. I really believe, I believed it 2 years ago. It's only been reinforced here that Jalen Brunson does more for winning than Patrick Ewing ever did. And it's not a knock on number 33. It's to contextualize the difference and the greatness of Jalen Brunson. And Pat's certainly great in his own right. And I'm going to take it a step further here. Get this up there. I'm just going to ask the question. And it's too early to answer it. Keep it up there for a little bit there, Jay. I just want that to resonate, and I want that to marinate. So you see Clyde Frazier, 2 championships. You see the great Patrick Ewing, got to 1, lost to Akeem in 94, thoroughly outplayed, as we know. And then obviously in 99, he was a diminished physical asset. And, his Achilles, he was just jacked up. He was older. And at that point, it was Houston, Spree, and those guys show. A little bit of Larry Johnson as well. So, and I know it's a very different NBA, and Clyde didn't have the 3-point shot when he was a Knick, okay? Patrick Ewing had 2 40-point playoff games. Clyde Frazier had none. Jalen Brunson already has 9 40-point playoff games and 27 30-plus point games. Patrick had 22. He had a lot of those as well, right? But last night, why last night was different. There's a lot of guys who come out and drop 35, 38, 42 in playoff games. But the difference last night, the margin of error, every time Jalen Brunson had the basketball in his hands with 7 minutes inside of 7:22, down by 20-plus points, he literally could not miss. He was not I don't mean that he hit every shot, which he basically did. I mean, he wasn't allowed to miss, given the circumstances. Like, if it's a tooth, and this is amazing stuff as well. And we've seen this over the years where 2 stars, they go back and forth and they duel, with one another, whether it's Bird and Magic or many other duos, on opposing teams getting after it. Dominique and Larry Bird in that great series, Celtics and the Hawks, so many, Duncan and Shaq, Kobe and whomever, so many others, right? But the difference and what elevates last night to a level that I really can't quantify. I mean, I could try there's really, I guess there's a deep stat that somebody will uncover that I'm not going to even try to because I don't even know where to start. But when it's a 2 or 3 possession game and there's 5-6 minutes to go, you can get away with a turnover. You can get away with, somebody setting a screen and, flaring out the hips, say Mitch or Cat, offensive foul, you lose possession, other team gets the ball back. You can get away with going 0 for 2 from the stripe or 1 for 2 from the stripe or missing 2 or 3 threes in a row, provided that you get some stops. Last night was so different in the sense that he literally had this much margin to make a mistake and mess up. It was non-existent. It wasn't there. I don't know why there were no timeouts called. I don't know why Donovan Mitchell didn't get the ball. I don't know why they allowed James Harden to guard him. Of the 11 possessions in the fourth quarter, that it was one-on-one, like before the help came or whatever, I'm just that isolated one-on-one, Harden versus Jalen Brunson. Brunson was 7 for 11. And the crazy thing about those shots, now it's one thing you stick a long three, money, especially like a step back and somebody kind of closing. Those drives that he hit, they weren't like layups at the rim. They were like 5 feet away, basically going off the top of the backboard under duress. Jalen Brunson, to me, he is the absolute epitome of maximizing whatever skill God gave you and just being a master at your craft, because he's never jumping over you. He's never going through you. Yeah, he's obviously shifty and quick, but he's not the fastest, from point A, 94 feet down the court, point A to point B. This guy's ability to manipulate space and his all-time spatial awareness, when to go, when to rock, when to pull back, when to go to the side, when to release it. I mean, there's guys coming in for the weak side, big dudes, 6'11", 6'9", good defenders. And this guy, off balance, 1 foot, hitting the floor, is basically going to the top of the square on the backboard. Good. Time after time after time. So I don't know. I mean, I feel really good that the Knicks are going to win the series, even better now. Like, that's a soul snatcher. And I'm not going to say the Knicks will sweep. I think that's a little ridiculous because the Cavaliers did show more like physical. I knew that they would battle, but more physical resolve than I thought that they were physically capable of, just based on what they exerted the previous series. And by the way, the series before that, it's like they swept the team in round one. They had back-to-back 7-game death matches, right? They were exhausted. They haven't had back-to-back days off in like a month and a half, whatever the crazy stat is. So I knew the Knicks would be, or I thought the Knicks would be a little rusty. I thought that rust would eventually dissipate. It didn't really for Karl Anthony Towns. It started to at the end for OG Anunoby, which is a great sign. And I thought it was a very astute observation when Jefferson said to Legler, when OG tried to slam that two-handed, you guys know which one I'm talking about. He got hit on the hand and it kind of rocked out. He got fouled. And that was the first time that I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, ooh, all right, that's an explode. That's when you trust your body. That's when you know that you're back. That's when you know that you're right. And, first couple of quarters, he was kind of figuring things out, threw up a few air balls, missed a couple of shots, whatever, didn't look great. But as soon as he did that, Jefferson said to Legs, he's like, you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, that's the first time he really, really exploded and hit the gas. So all things considered, what we could be discussing from a Knick point of view, what we in so many ways should be discussing from a Cavaliers point of view, it's insanity. It is crazy. And this is what we sign up for, man. And this is the risk that you take. And I've always told you this, if you're a fringe sports fan, all right, great, good for you, whatever. But most of us who have been locked into the stuff since our childhood, you devote, forget about the money. That's been well chronicled here. The ticket prices, the jerseys, the parking, the streaming devices, all that stuff that drives us nuts. The emotional investment and the time commitment that you make to these games and to these teams and to these series and to these seasons, most times, if you really think about it, it's really without reward. I mean, I have been a devout Knick fan since 1983. I've never seen him win a championship. I mean, think about all those. Now, a lot of the years were fun, certainly in the 90s, and I had something to look forward to. And it was great, right? Great memories with my dad, great memories with my buddies going to the bars early on in my 20s, like phenomenal. I mean, just great stuff. And that's why I'll always revere that 90s crew led by Patrick. But if you really think about it, I mean, the Met fan's fantastic. If you were born like Evan, who never won a championship, think about, what you do as a Met fan. You haven't been given that ultimate reward, but that's the risk that we take. And when you get a night like, even though it's not a championship win, you got to still get 3 more before you even get to the championship. That is why when you do get that feeling last night, there is no, I would imagine, there is no drug, there is nothing that can make you feel like you felt last night whenever you decided to turn that TV off after the post games and eventually fall asleep and wake up this morning and basically say, because this is what I'm like, did that actually happen? Like, did that actually happen? I'm sitting there, in the fourth quarter, and I actually stopped taking notes. Like, I went out, Jared. I had, I like my legal pads, but the drugstore was out of them.
Okay.
And I couldn't wait for Amazon, so I got like an old school notebook,
Yes, sir.
And I'm sitting there, I'm taking my notes, page after page. Finally, I get to a point, I'm like, this game's over, man. There's not a Knick fan alive that thought that they were going to win that game. So don't even waste your time and say, now I'm not saying that you left the arena early. I'm not saying that you shut the game off early. Like, if you did that, that's, you're going to lose a couple of points in the court of public opinion in terms of fan respect. It is what it is. But I understand if you were at that point where you're like, wow, I didn't see this coming. Geez, we're down 0-1. Okay. Home court advantage like that. God, evaporated. So it was just, it really, and because it wasn't round 1 or even round 2, and I know it's not the NBA finals, but because it's the conference finals, it elevates it to a point that, from a New York sporting perspective, and I don't mean Messier's hat trick. I don't mean Patrick's put-back dunk off of Starks' miss, which put him in the finals in 94. I'm not even talking about LJ's 4-point play or some of Jeter's home runs, Mr. November. I'm not talking about like that championship moment, but the cut right below, or near championship moment, but the cut right below it, Jalen Brunson and last night's win. And in terms of improbability, it's higher than a lot of those championship wins. So all-time stuff. I am exhausted. I need a day. Thank God they're not playing tonight. Thank God it's not baseball where it's the next. I got to regenerate, which I absolutely will, and will be absolutely out of my mind tomorrow. But last night, holy shit, I cannot believe that they won that game. Wow.
I mean, yeah, dude, I was watching most of it while I was riding a bike, which maybe that's a little dangerous, but you know what?
Wait, riding a bike stationary or outside in the streets?
Outside.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm going down. I got the game going. I'm watching this. I'm like, all right, it's over. It's over. Like, don't worry. And I sit down, dude. I sit down in my room, and that's like when the comeback starts going. And dude, when I tell you, I was literally screaming in my apartment, like going like,
yeah.
Like genuinely, dude. It was one of the most, potentially the most exciting playoff game. And dude, I watched the Celtics win a championship in 2024. Like, but in terms of a game, this might be the most exciting one I've watched. One since last night or 2 nights ago versus the Spurs and the Thunder. But dude, that like 2019 Kawhi Leonard shot versus Embiid, like in the Sixers. Like, that was the level of up there craziness that this was.
Robert Horry had a bunch of those moments for
big time. And like that Shamet shot even kind of reminded me just of how long it took. Of like how long it took to just like hit the bottom of the basket.
You know what's crazy? Like when Halliburton's shot hit the rim last year, I'm like, nah, it's not going in. When Shamet drew iron first, I'm like, it seemed soft enough. It didn't go nearly as high. As I'm like, that's soft. I'm like, that's going in. I love Shamet. I have always been a Shamet fan.
Did you think
I got receipts? I got records. I have always believed he is a good, serviceable, slightly above average, two-way NBA player. He is a dog. I love Shamet.
Did you think that Sam Merrill shot was going to go in?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Dude, for a second, my heart dropped. Because it was the first, as they're saying, it's the first reverse bang by Mike Green ever, where he went out the bang up.
Yeah, pull it back. He did. You heard some of the bang coming. I didn't even do the sponsor. Let's bang this out before we get back into the show. My goodness gracious. Well, I'm sure they don't mind because the viewership is going to be great today. Today's show brought to you by Sullivan Papain. Find Sullivan online at trial01.com. That's trial01.com. Remember the name Sullivan Papain, and by Premio Sausage, the way sausage should be. Find them at premiofoods.com or in your local grocery store. I mean, Cat picked up his second foul. Just looking back at these notes, there were a couple things I wanted to reference. Second half early, he was fine there. Then Merrill hits the three. When Merrill hit a three to make it 66-56, I'm like, okay, this is what I was a little worried about because they were missing, and he missed a couple in the first half that I know that they're eventually going to start sticking. And then, I'm like, man, they're not even getting to the rim, the Knicks. In the third quarter, inside of 5 minutes, the Knicks had 6 total free throw attempts. All right. And Legler made a very astute point, and you could see the Knicks defense. And this is credit to Kenny Atkinson, who, messed up at the end. But like the Cavaliers conceptually were ready to attack they were ready to play. Like they were scheme wise, they were on point because the Knicks were very scattered. They did a horrendous job of containing the Cavaliers on defense, whether it was the primary ball handler getting into the paint and then getting an easy look, or, guys collapsing or rotating too late and open looks across the board. And then at 77, then Merrill hits another one. And at 77-63, Cavaliers are open everywhere. And now I'm officially like, we're in trouble. Like we got problems here. And then they start deploying the hack-a-mitch. And I thought they did a good job. I don't love Jefferson doing these games. I don't dislike him as much as some of you do. I like Legs. Breen's the best. But I do think Jefferson and Legler are pretty good together. I just feel like Jefferson over the years always gets his jabs. Like everybody gets their jabs on the Knicks. If it's not Reggie, it's Jefferson. There's always Shaq, like Barkley. There's always a little zing. Hey, zing this. How'd that feel? How's that taste? Chew on those, right? So when they start doing the hack-a-mitch, and the first time they did it, he was 1 of 2. Then they do it again. He's 0 of 2. Now it's 79-64, 2:09 to go in the third quarter. And I'm starting thinking, I know we have a full fourth quarter, and I know the Knicks have done this before, the Celtics twice last year in Boston. I know that they've got it in them to come back. But then they do it again with Mitch, and he goes 0 for 2. Then they do it again, and he's 1 for 2. And it's 83-69 Cavs. And it was such a flip of the switch because the Cavaliers scored, they have 16 points in the first quarter, which was their lowest first quarter of the entire season. Not the entire postseason, the entire regular season and playoff stretch so far. But that changed. Like I felt, even though the Knicks weren't playing well early, missing a lot of shots, I'm like, we're gonna smoke this team. Like heavy legs are gonna set in. Knicks are gonna start getting out on the break. Knicks are gonna start banging some threes, whether it's Deuce, whether it's Brunson, Bridges, OG. I'm sure Hart will stick 1 or 2 because he'll be wide open. Knicks win going away. And it just never shifted. It never turned around. And it turned around because they basically said, all right, man. And you saw that huddle video where Brunson's just imploring his teammates, just loud and aggressive and pointed, communicating the way a leader does. Like, that's funny because we look at Jalen as kind of quiet. Josh Hart's like one of the emotional, he is the emotional engine of the team. And Brunson's obviously the best player by a massively wide margin. And Brunson, even when he's in the middle of one of these epic fourth quarter shows that he's putting on, he'll give you the little sign. He'll give you a couple of, but he's never really out of his element in terms of being focused and relatively calm. And I thought that was a really good deviation. Now, I'm sure he does that behind closed doors quite a bit because I don't think if you're not comfortable doing it with that kind of leadership style, I'm not sure he's doing it last night. And hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go and find it on social media. And, Cat was in front of him. I don't know if he was just lacing right into Cat, but Cat seemed to be one of the main targets. And that's what it's all about. I mean, we're here to win a championship. We're boys. We're tight. We trust each other. We're friends. But shit, if you're not doing your job, you got to start. Because the window, and this is something we talked about yesterday, and many times really this year, this is the window. Like, this is the Knicks championship window for a multitude of reasons. And I'm not going to go into it very much right now, but just a brief, snapshot as to why I feel that way, whether it's the contracts, whether it's the age of the players who are still in their prime, but not early in their prime where you think they've got 3 or 4 more years together. I know they don't. The circumstances of the Eastern Conference, some injuries, etc., home court advantage, being incredibly well rested, all these things that have lined up. And, could you imagine, like, Imagine if the Knicks would have just been, I mean, even if they would have come back and just fallen a bit short and lost, but like imagine if the Knicks didn't show any resolve last night and come back and not only get a loss hung on them, but lose in such ugly, uninspiring fashion. Could you imagine what today would be like on this show, on the radio stations? And again, just to reiterate, especially if Mike Brown, who's been the subject of a lot of heat from a lot of people, though it's thawed out a little bit because he's earned some new some stripes. He's done, because they've changed how they play, etc. And he's got to get credit for that. I mean, when things are going well, you got to give the coach credit if you're going to bag on him when things are not going well. All right. So, we can't be unfair. And I think I've been very fair to Mike Brown. I really do. When they hired him, I'm like, all right, not my first choice. I was very much on the record. Got to move on from Tom Thibodeau. I think we've hit the ceiling. Much love. Always a Knick. Might get hired, in this next cycle. I hope he does. He's a basketball lifer. Profound. I don't know how else to say it. Profound respect for Tom Thibodeau, the basketball mind and the grinder that he has always been. And he brought back a level of respect from the Knicks that, I mean, the more you watch the Knicks outside of the last couple of years, you just begin to think that it's a fatal, terminal affliction where we're just never going to be relevant. We're just not going to happen. And Tom brought that back with a work ethic and obviously Julius Randle, and then Brunson came, and then everything started to change. And, the other thing that started to change here is that while I know he's a little frustrating, at times doesn't get to the free throw line, sometimes a little soft or a little reluctant to get banged at the rim, talking about Mikal Bridges, this guy shows up in big games. That's all there is to it. I mean, there's something about whether it's the Villanova DNA, which everybody talks about, which you go back and trace back to Jay Wright. But think about the guys that played for Jay in Villanova. Brunson, killer. Hart, killer. DiVincenzo, killer. Bridges was like the one outlier, at least outwardly, even though he's obviously a good pro, that doesn't exhibit those kind of those takeover tendencies, but he actually does in the playoffs. It's really amazing. Whether it's defensively against the Celtics last year, whether it's offensively against the Celtics last year. Last night, Knicks don't win. As much as Brunson was the absolute man, if Bridges comes up small and if Shamet comes up small, we're talking about a loss. Bottom line, man. And one thing I noticed too, and I've got to get a better read on a closer game, right? And I read something yesterday, and I think Breen may have said it as well. So, J-Rod, check this out. Last night, there were 2 seats that were sold midcourt, 2 seats for $50,000. 50 large, man. That is more than some people make in a year. I mean, really.
That is straight up.
That is more than many teachers in some states, like, maybe down south or middle of the country. Not every teacher's making 50. Now, they should be because they're teachers, but they don't. Not every policeman or fireman's making 50,000, depending upon where you are and how many years you're on the job and all that stuff. 50 G's to sit courtside, all right? Now, if you want to sit courtside and you got that kind of loot, I'm not mad at you, but the greater point would be now residually from that, as all the ticket prices go up, the average ticket price, I believe, was around $1,200 or $1,300, and the cheapest get in, meaning the worst seat in the house, was over $500. Now, I saw some people kind of saying this, but I'm like, well, is it because there's just no life right now? The Knicks are getting whacked, or is it because there really is a different type of fan in the building? I can tell you this. The people that I grew up with, now, some of them have gone on to make some real money, but the people that I grew up with in Brooklyn, the people I know in Flatbush and Bay Ridge and Rockaway and Staten Island and Queens, like people that I played ball with and against and hung with and all that stuff, not one person that I knew could afford that. Now, it's all relative a long time ago, so take 50,000 and maybe make it 20,000, or whatever it might be. And as that happens year after year after year after year, and these ticket prices become more and more exorbitant, the diehard fan, like that dude who Rangers lose in a shootout or a last-second soft goal, that guy can't go to sleep. And I'm talking about not in the playoffs, during the regular season, right? Or that Knick fan who's there, against whomever and has been there for 15, 20 years, even when they sucked, all right? More and more of those people are getting priced out. So I am curious Not that it impacts the game, but it is a different topic, a different issue that I care about. The great fans. And nobody is more penalized than New York because they're maybe the Lakers, if Kobe was still playing or Shaq, or LeBron was younger, maybe it would mirror the Garden prices. Maybe, probably would, maybe. But that's it. Nowhere else. Not happening in Boston. Not happening in San Antonio. Not happening in OKC. Not happening for the Clippers, even though it's LA. I don't care where it is. Maybe the Lakers. And the more this happens and the more common it becomes, at the end of the day, of the 20,000 people roughly who are in the Garden for a Knick playoff game at this stage of the playoffs, how many are the diehards that just live and die and just rock with this team no matter what?
Probably not a huge percentage, honestly. No, yeah, and maybe this is, maybe this is part of James Dolan's plan, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but, you've heard about what he's done, monitoring fans at MSG and stuff like that. Maybe his goal is to have MSG be a celebrity row of a building and just be a place for the wealthy, exorbitant New Yorkers to enjoy their high-class entertainment, just like it was back in Roman times. Enjoy your Colosseum, have the lords sit and watch the duel, watch the joust. It's ridiculous. No young person I know can afford any Knicks tickets. So
I don't know how you do it.
It's solely and this isn't a bad thing, but it's solely a upper middle class family affair or wealthy single person celebrity kind of thing. But it's not the kind of thing where it's just yo, me and my boys, we're huge Knick fans. Let's go to the Knicks playoffs game. That is impossible. You cannot tell unless they're living in Murray Hill and they're working at Goldman Sachs. Listen, I can't think of a single group of dudes my age who are just yo, and even if it wouldn't cost a little more than usual, I don't know any dudes who could be yo, me and the boys are going to the Knicks playoff game. Yeah. And we're going to cheer on the Knicks. No one I know.
Unless mommy and daddy are paying for it, you ain't going. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're not going.
No shot.
That's it. I used to go to a couple of games. I went with my dad. I remember I went to a Rangers-Penguins playoff game. I think my dad got the tickets, but I went with it. That was the first time I went to the Garden with just my buddies in high school. Sneak a couple of beers on the old Q train. Do it the old school way. It was fun. But it was, the ticket prices were a little expensive then, but the gap was not, and the schism was not nearly as wide as, and as broken as it really has become. I mean, I'm not trying to be a downer here. I'm just looking back at some of the things that I was thinking about last night, and I wasn't really thinking about it until I saw a couple of things on social media. I am not on my phone during the games. During a commercial break, I want to go in. All right, what are the Yanks doing? What are the Mets doing? Just kind of see a couple of tweets about the Knicks. And I did note, and then after the game, I noticed it as well, where there were a lot of people who chimed in on that. And it's an interesting theory, and I think it's probably a very true one. And speaking of, and I did not spend much time on the baseball last night. I mean, did you see what happened to the Mets last night with that circus?
I saw the L. I saw the L. I didn't see the game.
Dude, there was an inside the park.
Grand slam. Oh, my God. I saw that.
What are you doing? I mean, you look around. I mean, good job, David Stearns. Boy, that's one hell of a defensive unit you constructed. Oh, my God. Play at the plate, off his glove. Torrance can't hang. Bichette was with a bad throw. Did it a couple of home runs. And I did flick live. I saw Soto's bomb, which was a massive shot to dead center, right by the W, that grass W logo. But yeah, I mean, this is the way it's going to kind of be with the Mets here, where they dug themselves a hole, even though they've recovered a little bit. All right, so if you lose today and you lose, if you lose today and you lose 2 or 3 to the Nets, so most of that energy's got to dissipate from beating the Yankees twice and sweeping the Tigers and taking a couple against the Rockies and teams like that. So that was the Mets. The Yankees, obviously, I was a little bit more tuned into at the end for sure, because Bednar, I'm not even mad that he couldn't pitch, because he threw a lot of pitches the night before. I don't really want to see Duvall out there trying to ice a game too often, but good to see McMahon with a home run, Rice with a home run, good win. All right, Yanks have beat Toronto twice here, but last night was a basketball game, And really, I'm telling you, man, the more I think about this, and there's still stairs to climb and hurdles to hop over, there is nobody, I don't care. And this even applies to my dad, who is a massive Knick fan and was the first to tell me about Clyde and DeBusschere and Bradley and Willis Reed and Red Holtzman and Phil Jackson and guys coming off the bench like Phil. There is no way. There is no way. And I know what he did in Game 7 against the Lakers, that crazy game, Clyde Frazier. There is no way that Clyde Frazier consistently did for the Knicks what Jalen Brunson consistently does for the Knicks. And there is no way. Now, this is somebody that I did see play every single game, including in college. There is no way Patrick Ewing did for the Knicks on a night-to-night frequency and efficiency what Jalen Brunson does for these Knicks. Now, I get it. There's different elements of the conversation. Well, Patrick played defense. Clyde was a great on-the-ball defender. I know. So I'm not saying it's apples to apples, but you need a bucket. Now, just think about it this way. You're down 2. All right. And Knicks Bulls, Knicks Heat, Knicks Pacers, obviously. You're down 2. You throw it down a pat 7-8 feet away from the rim. All right. Smiths, you got one of the Davis boys lingering, coming over with that double team if they do double. And they do, because the Knicks couldn't shoot. Unless Starks was hot that night. That was pretty much it. Would you rather have Patrick, and I know his fall away, baseline J, it was money. It was butter. But would you rather have Patrick in that situation or Jalen Brunson last night in that situation? I'll take Jalen every single time. And again, I know it's different because Jalen's got the ball and he can just operate and do whatever he wants. Understood. Patrick was beholden to, the guys around him and their limitations, Jalen Brunson is becoming,
I think he's the second best player in these playoffs right now. At least he's played like it. He's played he's not
what, behind Wemby? Yeah.
Like he's certainly been better than Shea these playoffs. I think there might be a little debate there, but I don't know. You look at the numbers. I think Jalen Brunson's easily clearing him. He definitely has more 30-point games, certainly.
Yep.
Also got that game 1 win. Had many more clutch moments than Shea this playoffs. I'm not saying Jalen Brunson's better than Shea, but dude, going into these finals, if the Knicks play the Thunder, dude, this isn't I'm now seeing it as this isn't some massive disparity between Shea and Jalen anymore, man. This is 1, all right, and 2. It's close. It's close, and I don't think a few months ago I would have said or believed that.
No, me neither. I don't know anybody would. No. I agree with that.
He is just Allen Iverson isn't the right player because he's not better.
He's more efficient.
He's more efficient. He's more efficient. He's a better playmaker.
Yep.
His game reminds me of a fully perfected scoring wise, not passing wise. Chris Paul's scoring game. That's what Jalen Brunson reminds me as, the small dude who can really get the guy on his back, plus that little floater, hit him with the pull-up mid-range. He might shoot. He doesn't shoot 100% from the mid-range, but it looks like it.
Yeah,
when he does that little step back.
Those floaters, right?
It's every time. It seems like it's every time.
It's ridiculous. It seems like it's a layup. Listen, I said this at the start of the show. I'm just more impressed how he attacks coming at the side, almost going in for a layup. And he obviously has to stop short of the backboard because, he's smaller. Guys are closing, coming from the weak side. Not to mention the guy that you beat, who's probably taller, because almost everybody is pretty much on the court that guards Jalen. And that's why I talk about his angles and his footwork and the way he manipulates space. I remember saying years ago, and I stand by this, right? To me, nobody was able to below the rim. Nobody finished better, in my opinion, ever than Kyrie Irving with the spins, reverse spins, definitely. Just magic. I've always thought that about Kyrie Irving. And I don't know. And he would those reverse spins where you're man, how did he get that English? That's what I'm really talking about. Remember that? I think Jalen Brunson to me is the best small finisher in the history of the game. Tiny Archibald didn't score like this. I know, again, it's a very different game, Isaiah Thomas didn't score like this. And even Chris Paul, who like Jalen,
did not score like
no,
this.
No. And Chris was never a superior athlete. Matter of fact, he was like a half a step slow compared to his peers, certainly as a point guard. And I think that, Jalen has to battle that nightly as well. But his ability, it's like he's almost, I'll give you as a weird analogy. Give you a very, who knows if it's going to make sense. But so, I was on the podcast with Brett Boone yesterday on Boone.
Yes, sir.
Podcast, right? Dude, he kept me for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
That is so insane, dude.
Another reason I'm exhausted. I did my show, then I hopped on, I did his show.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of talking, bro.
A lot of talking, just a lot of focus, I had a great time though, right? It was awesome. He treated me really well. Great conversation. You guys should check it out, right?
Check that.
And anyway, so and he was asking me the questions, because I was his guest, but I asked him at one point, we were talking about right-handed pitchers, like Gibson and Tom Seaver and Roger Clemens and Pedro with his changeup, and of course Greg Maddux, right? Maybe we were talking about Schlittler. We're talking about Cam, and then like some other great righties of all time. Not that Cam's there yet, but whatever. That's kind of where we were.
For sure.
And I said, and I got a question for you. I said, I've heard a lot of people say that if Greg Maddux was pitching with the ABS today, where you can obviously tap the helmet, challenge the pitch, would he be Greg Maddux? And he said, no question. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you're the only former player I've ever heard really say that. Not that they said that, Maddux would be batting practice, but think about this. He lived on the outer part of home plate. So he would present it as a borderline strike, but he would always get not 1 inch, 2-3 inches off every side of the plate.
Yeah.
Not so much high and low, but absolutely on the outer part of the plate. So to me, and he actually said, this is the quick aside, he said that Greg Maddux can throw 95 anytime he wanted. He said he chose not to. I'm like, wow, that's something else I didn't really know. I always thought he was like 91, 92. Either way, Jalen Brunson to me is the Greg Maddux of basketball, where there is nothing about him physically where you're like, wow, this guy's yoked. This guy jumps out of the gym. This guy is a blur, point A to point 94 feet running up. Nobody could catch him. If he's got to step on you, he's gone. Like, nobody can say that about Jalen Brunson. Just like nobody, even though, and I trust Brett, I guess he had 95 in the tank, but Maddux wasn't throwing the ball by people. He wasn't rearing back like Randy Johnson or Roger Clemens or a young Dwight Gooden or even Pedro, even though Pedro had the great changeup. He beats you in a way that is so unconventional that it's really one of the more impressive things I've ever seen. That makes some sense for you?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that checks out. He's a guy without the greatest physical gifts of all time, but just, as you said earlier, somebody who's mastered their craft, somebody who knows what they're good at, doesn't try to do too much outside of it, but is perfect at what they do.
That's pretty much what I'm saying. We got a decent amount of views in here. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the subs up. Let's
drop 258 likes. 258 likes right now.
I got Gangsta J-Rod hopping on the scene to threaten you guys. You better drop those likes. So now we rest a little bit. And I actually think the funny thing is, I think tomorrow, the Cavaliers will be more tired than today, than last night.
Really?
I do. I think that, when you enter a new series, there, especially at the Garden, independent of what kind of fan was there, like we talked about before, the affluent fan versus the affluent kind of fan who wants to be seen versus the diehard, I live and die with this stuff, and I've rooted for this team since I was 6 and used to sit in the blue seats with my dad and my grandfather kind of fan. Even though it's not quite that way anymore, it's still the Garden, and it's still the only game on that night, and it's still the show. And I thought ESPN did a great job with the intros, like that shot, and like that shot, not 7th Avenue, was from, I think it was probably more the financial district, if I had that direction right, where they're kind of coming into the Garden, and you just see it, and then they take you into the Garden, and then I absolutely love the Knicks PA announcer. He just sounds the same. He sounds exactly the same that he sounded when he was saying, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, sounds the same exact way it did 30 years ago. It's amazing. And when I started going to the Garden, I remember, I know you don't know this name, and I don't expect you to. John Condon was the legendary PA voice of Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
When I first started going. Matter of fact, if you go to the press room, it's the John Condon press room there. It's got a nice little plaque there, so I see it all the time with St. John's. Used to always see it when I was doing the Knicks stuff. And he would say, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. And, like, I'd hear that as, like, a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid. And I'm like, someday I'm going to play here. You know, all the things you think about when you're a kid. And, you know, I don't really get – I mean, the Sterling's home run calls are great. And when Jeter was hitting and you still had, you know, the voice of heaven coming out, you know, Derek Jeter, like, I'm phenomenal. But I don't really get too wrapped up in that stuff anymore. Like, I do enjoy with the All-Star game. To this day, I kind of revert back to my childhood. Like, I enjoy when the players get introduced and they, you know, from the San Diego Padres, and they just tip their cap. I don't know. It just brings me back to playing wiffle ball and collecting cards and all that stuff. But there's something about, like, the Garden intros, the music, the juice, the lights just kind of bouncing around each section is nothing. And I know that OKC is a beast of a place to play at, and those fans are great. San Antonio, they know how to win. They're all, I mean, the way they coordinate their colors in San Antonio is something that would never happen at the Garden. Like,
do you like that or no?
I do, but I do is going to sound like a diss, and it's not. I do, but it ain't New York. Like, to me, it's like it's an San Antonio thing. Not saying it's corny, but for them, it's definitely not corny. For them, it's awesome. But if the Knicks ever tried to do that, that would be corny. Like, that would just be stealing something that's not authentic to New York. We don't do that. Like, we'll take the towels and the hat. You know, I don't even like those freaking. What are those things that they bang?
The pat. Yeah.
I can't stand those.
I don't like those either.
I remember. Oh God, I went nuts on those when I was living in Detroit. I actually think that they started in Detroit in like 2003. I'm like, I don't know about these things. I was just shitting all over it on my old show in Detroit, and all the fans got mad. They loved it. No, but there's something about the Garden. It's just, and I listen, I really feel like this is their year. It's hard not to think that. I try to evaluate every situation, and it's tough, without emotion. Like, I try to do it pragmatically, and there's really nothing that the Knicks don't have that you need to win a championship. You got a closer, you know, you got shooters, you got defenders, you got toughness, you got home court, at least now, you know, and think about the run that they've been on. And I think it's so much more impressive what they did last night. Don't get me wrong. You beat another NBA team. I don't mean some high school, you know, where like you win by 51 points in a playoff game and you have multiple 20-plus point routes, and the way you responded against losing against the Hawks when they lost 2 straight, winning on the road, double figures easy, like just massive character statements. But like, that's one thing. Like, when you're playing, when you jump out early and you're rolling and you're playing downhill, you're playing with a looseness that is contagious, right? When you're down, even though these guys, it's their job, they don't get nervous, but there's a heightened sense of, shit, man, we're running out of it. We got to go. And, you know, you're saying that in the huddle, which means on some level, as you're lining up that shot, somewhere in the deepest recesses of your mind, it's there because you just know the margin of error is this. And that's why last night, what Jalen Brunson did, I didn't see Reggie hit the 3 home runs in the World Series. I didn't see it live. You know, there's a lot of things I didn't see Willis Reed limping on the court in the finals and hitting his first 2 jump shots. I didn't see Clyde's big game with the 37 points and the 6 stat line he had against the Lakers in Game 7. A lot of things I didn't see.
Sure.
But there's a lot of things that I did see, all right? And I really don't think that I'm a prisoner of the moment here, at least pertaining to New York stuff. You want to talk about the helmet catch and the throw by Eli, avoiding the sack against the Patriots. All right, that's up there. I get it. I'm not saying that there aren't some frozen Mr. November Jeter, some frozen snapshots. There are. But in a continuous flow of greatness where you literally – you can't miss or you lose. That was just all-time New York lore stuff. And I want to New York all-time NBA stuff. Forget about it. Not even just New York lore. Forget about the New York bubble. All-time NBA stuff. And let me say something else. You know by now, Jay, there's a couple of things that bother me, like the misuse of the word great, right? That bothers me. I got to, kind of provide context there. It's just overused or misused, right? Too many international games in the NFL drives me absolutely bonkers, right? Like, there are just certain things that, I've got an issue with the GOAT conversation, which we talked about yesterday. Time to put that on the rack. Get rid of it. Don't want to hear it. It's corny. It's lazy. It's contrived. It's dumb. There's no right or wrong answer. Like it's overdone. Right. Yeah. The thing that I outside of the word great, that really is my biggest pet peeve. The other thing that really bothers me is that not everybody, because some of you actually understand sports, but so many of you look at a championship as the ultimate validation of greatness. Okay. And sometimes that applies. Like, I think it's impossible to be an all-time golf great if you got no majors. It's impossible because it's you. It's not like, well, my 2-guard shot 2 for 18, or, my center fouled out, or my coach stayed and he got fired. Yep. You either make the putts, you hit the fairways, you home in 2, you birdie the par 5s, or you don't, right? You either collapse down the back 9, or you're steady and your heartbeat remains slow and you play the right way and you win, right? But certainly in basketball, it's so much more dependent upon the team. Same with baseball. Like, Aaron Judge is the most, I know Griffey's close, whatever. He's the greatest player I've ever seen. I mean, he's only got a couple more years of his prime. I don't think that this Yankees version is winning anything this year. They better get some more bats. And if they do, I'll reevaluate that. But if he goes into his career, ends his career, no championships, you will have some idiots saying, oh, there's no way he could be an all-time great. Don't have any championships. Well, I'm sorry. And I know he's had some small moments in the postseason, and Derek Jeter was the opposite. There is nobody that can convince him. I'm not even going to engage in the conversation. I don't want to hear it. I'm not even going to listen because it's such a waste of time. If you tell me that Derek Jeter was better than Aaron Judge, I'm like, you know nothing about baseball. I don't want to hear it. All right. So why I'm saying all this, it's to this direct point. If the Knicks don't win the championship this year, but they're going to get to the finals, I strongly believe. Let's say they lose in 6 or 7, it's a tough battle, and Brunson plays well, but they just don't win. And if they don't win this year, I don't know if they're ever going to win with this crew. So I'm going to kind of further, right? You will have people, maybe you have a podcast in a couple of years, maybe my son, right, who produced the show for the first 2 months. I don't know what the hell was going to Cole. Get me on the air, buddy. I got to get out of the basement, dude. I got to get some graphics going. I got to make a living here. Help me out, man. Then he had to go back to school, which was brutal. Anyway, somebody down the road is going to eventually take the baton from me and from many others and continue this dialogue and push forward the narratives. And if Brunson never wins a championship, there will be many people espousing in the very public court of sporting opinion that Jalen Brunson is not an all-time great. Why not? Never won a championship. And that's what drives me nuts, because there's so many guys that never did anything close to what Jalen Brunson did last night, who are in the Hall of Fame, who've got championships, who are elevated. And I don't mean like the Isaiahs and the Birds, and I'm not talking about those guys. Even Barkley with no championships, which is an outlier. Same with Pat to an extent. But the Duncan all-timer, Shaq all-timer, I don't mean necessarily those guys, but other guys that are elevated higher than they should be solely because of something like this. Something like this. Yep. You know what I mean? Something like this. And it really, it's one of the things about sports conversations that I think is shallow, because context is lost, because people are lazy. If you ever need to ask yourself down the road, was he really great? Just watch last night again and remind yourself, you dope. What do you think? Is he great? He's the best Knick I've ever seen. Is he great? Come on, man. Some of this nonsense, dude. Hey, by the way, do you know what this is? You know what this ring is?
I mean, it's some sort of, is it a championship ring of any sort?
No, it's a last place ring. What the hell are you thinking? Come on. Look at that guy.
Oh, a fantasy champion ring.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys did a ring.
Oh, I bought myself a ring. I'm like, screw that. So now, and we don't do it as much, just because now a lot of the kids, we still have a league, but the kids are older, so people moved away. Yeah. We can't all get together, right? But I won the second one, right? I got a nice trophy over there. It's an awesome trophy. And so to me, it was like a rite of passage. I'm like, nope, got to show up at the draft. This is the exclusive club here. Like we're in the master's room. We got the cigars, we got the scotch, we got the green jacket. You peasants could go draft on the couch. Meanwhile, since then, I've probably been the worst player in the league.
Every year.
Yeah, pretty kind of close.
That's too
kind of
funny.
close. But like just this, this piece. Now this is obviously, it was like $70, whatever.
Sure,
I had it made,
it's
but
cool though.
This animate that this object here should not be the ultimate toll collection in terms of who really is great. It's just, I think it speaks to really, I'm not trying to be really mean here, but I think it speaks to the laziness and the lack of sporting intellect and intelligence of a lot of people out there. I'm sorry. Is that how I feel?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it is something that you can see is kind of bit in some NBA greats kind of already, where it's like a guy like John Stockton. I don't think he gets remembered as much. Obviously, he still gets his credit because he'll always have the assist record and the steals record. I don't know who's beating either of those, dude.
Well, somebody's going to beat the assist record because
at some
just
point,
the volume of possessions and, better shooters.
Maybe Luka. Maybe Luka. It could be like a Luka type, but I don't know if he'll be healthy enough in his career to play the longevity that Stockton did. Because what he played 21 years.
Oh yeah, John played 20.
Yeah, he
20
played
21
a ton of seasons.
He was a killer, man. John
I think,
Stockton. Oof.
And like another guy, I mentioned earlier, like Chris Paul, like he's a dude I think who is going to be severely impacted by the fact he never won a ring. He will. He won't be forgotten, but by the generation after, people who watch, who didn't get to see him play, the next generation of basketball players,
which is kind of my point.
Kids who are 10, 9 now, who, maybe they saw one season of Chris Paul when they were like 8 years old.
And he was like 10 pounds heavier and slow. No, I know.
They will not know at all about how good of a player he is because he didn't have a ring, and it won't be spoken about as well.
That's a good point there. Now, listen, I think with Chris Paul, different kind of player, obviously more of a pass first guy, good defender when he was young. Brunson's not a good defender. He was a dogged on the ball defender, just tough and stronger than Jalen, maybe an inch taller, but definitely stronger. He never did what Jalen Brunson's doing. Just never did anything like this. And remember, he used to get hurt a lot too, always pulling a hamstring or a groin, at the most inopportune times. Yeah, like to me, you want to really, and you mentioned Stockton, right? And I saw something somewhat recently. Sometimes it just pops up randomly on YouTube, you'll see the title, "How much of a killer was Larry Bird?" Or was Larry Bird really that good? Or would Larry Bird be good in today's NBA, right? And I love it. Obviously the greatest, there weren't many great white players then, there are now, So some people think that there's a little bit of a false elevation because of the color of his skin, which I think is a colossal crock of shit, right? But what I love is, and I'm like, and I didn't even like Bird growing up. I thought he was corny. His uniform didn't look good. He had the mustache. I'm like, I don't know, this guy, he's not dunking. I don't know. Then, of course, I'm like, dude, you sound like an idiot back then because he's one of the best of all time. Point being, you'll see these old timers, Gary Payton, all these dudes that played back in the day. They're like, Larry Bird was a fucking killer, man.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day. Sean Kemp, young Sean Kemp. This was great. Sean Kemp comes out. And by the way, the point is that people will be saying this about Brunson down the road. Was Brunson really that good? He couldn't shoot. He wasn't quick. And then you'll hear stories from his peers today down the road. But the story with Sean Kemp goes, I guess I didn't even know Larry Bird had a brother that was a very good basketball player.
No, I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that. I know he had a couple of brothers growing up in French Lick, but one of them, I guess, was really good and had some Indiana State scoring records, I guess, before Larry shattered, whatever it might be. And Sean Kemp evidently played against Larry's brother, one of his brothers.
Okay.
And I think he dunked on him a couple of times, and he dropped like 39, and he was like, and they walk out to midcourt, and I think Sean was either a rookie or I think he was a rookie. And Bird's like, are you that dude that toasted my brother? It's just Sean Kemp telling the story.
Yeah.
Sean Kemp's like, yeah. He goes, I got something for you tonight. Watch.
Holy.
Lace up, brother. Right? And he talks shit. He's like, yo, I'm going here. I'm going to pump fake. I'm going to bang one.
Oh, it was that game?
Well, he's done that a few times.
Okay.
And I'm going to just put it right in your grill, and you're not going to stop me, no matter what you do. And they're like the stories about Bird. Like there was one story that I think is hysterical. Who were they playing? I don't think it was the Hawks.
If it's the one where the players like are literally recoiling on the bench watching.
No, that's a good one. That was the Hawks.
That clip right there just proves Larry Bird in itself. You've never seen the opposing team's bench players act like that.
Yeah,
ever.
That was, you know what? Game. That was the Hawks because I could still see like the three Hawks. They're like leaning on.
Yeah,
just see what he just did. No, not that. But who the hell were they playing? Either way, Larry Bird would get offended if a white guy was guarding him.
Yeah,
he would actually get offended. And he said to I forget which team and which coach and their star player and. During a little stoppage, you're like, this guy's not actually covering me tonight. He's like, you better get a black dude on me. It's just like, I love those stories. And as like, you get a lot of that, like all the smoke pod with those guys. They get into some of that old stuff when they have some of the old timers. And like to a man, like the respect that they have for Bird and like all of them, they're like, yo, man, that dude was a killer. Jalen Brunson is his own version of a killer. He is quiet, but he is an assassin. And right now, the Knicks are set up to, I thought it would be a fairly quick series anyway, but now I think it's got a chance to be a quicker series than I thought. I'm not saying it's going to be a sweep. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. It's not a hot take. I'm not looking for a click action here because it's a waste of time. But I do think I thought the Knicks were better coming in, and now you just really have to wonder how this is going to manifest itself. And I'm very sympathetic for the Cavaliers and for the Knicks as well, favorably. But I don't know why Kenny Atkinson said what he said at the press conference last night. Did you watch it? Because I watched the press conferences. Yeah.
I caught like 5 minutes. What was his
Well, he's
line?
like, I'm really proud of our guys. Like, dude, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm going the opposite way. He's like, we battled. And I know what he meant. Hey, we just had 2 back-to-back grueling 7-game series. We haven't had back-to-back off days since I think April, whatever. We're exhausted. We're on the road. Somehow we mustered up a 22-point lead with 7:52 to go in the fourth quarter. Like I understand why he could think that, but that's if Mike Brown said that, I wouldn't want to hear it. Like, and I'm not saying that you railroad your team, but there's got to be somewhere in between where you're like, man, we let one get away, and that's not going to happen again. And then he even said that he had no issues, taking the timeouts back on the team bus.
Yeah, I saw that. He was like, yeah, I like holding my timeouts. What, you like holding them for the offseason? You like bringing them to Cancun with you, taking a little minute pause from your family? Like, what do you mean? What are you holding the timeout
That's not a bad
for?
thing. Keep a timeout in the back pocket. Hang on. I got to end the timeout. Give me a 20-second. Daddy's getting out of here right now. No. Oh, my God. Dude, by the way, it is really, really hot today.
It's ridiculous.
It's hot.
Yesterday, so I had to work, and I had to wear pants at work, dude. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is." No, I know. No, I know. But then I thought about it. I was like, I wouldn't buy something from a dude wearing shorts. I wouldn't trust a guy in shorts selling.
We at the guitar store.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
No, well, think about this. This guy. Not that you're complaining, but like the fact that you even acknowledge I had to wear pants. I mean. When I started, before I got into radio, I told you I was on Wall Street. I was trying to, obviously get into the business. I'd have to shave every day. I'd have a tie on. I'm like, oh, God, I can't hate this, man. And this guy's, he's got to throw on a pair of khakis that probably aren't even pressed.
No, dude, that's really showing my age because I'm working with dudes with like face piercings and like ripped up jeans and stuff. And I'm out here complaining about the dress code.
Oh, man. You don't have any earrings, do you?
I have earrings.
Oh, that's right.
I don't about that, but I think they might have closed up in the past 2 months somehow because I tried to put them in the other day and then it just like wasn't working out.
Any tats or no? No tats.
No. Okay. And it's not even like a Jewish thing or anything like that. I think I'm just like past like the college threshold of getting my first one.
Understood.
I mean, honestly. Still up in the air, dude. Like I could totally see myself just
get an Unleashed tattoo.
Oh my gosh! Oh my God! I'll get a photorealistic picture of you right here.
No, just how about the Unleashed logo and then underneath it, "Can you hear me?" in quotes because you don't want to.
Okay, can you hear me? Listen, if we keep this going, hopefully, listen. If I see it how I see it with my crystal ball, if we keep this going for a long time. I can totally see myself with a "Can you hear me" tattoo.
Yeah, there you
100%.
go. All right.
100%.
Wow. I mean, this guy, nobody's going to question this dude's loyalty. So game 2 is Thursday. I love it. And I remember saying this the other day when the schedule came out. There's no multiple days off. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, back at it Monday, and then Wednesday, then Friday, then Sunday. And Sunday would be, which is a good thing because I know we have a lot of baseball on Sunday, even though it's Memorial Day weekend. Sunday would be it. I mean, I don't expect to have a game 7, but if there was one, obviously at the Garden, 8:00 tip. The 8:00 tips are a little tricky, man. Like they just are. Like
I like it. I like it. Give me 7:00.
Yeah, no, me too. I know. Well, my son was exhausted this morning. I could just tell.
Yeah.
I come down and he's on the couch and he was watching. You know how they have those time lapse on YouTube, like building stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wants to be. He's like, oh, after I'm done playing for the Yankees, I want to be an engineer. That's what he's been saying.
Dude, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he likes to. He's very, very good. He's got the 3D printer I told you about. He's got a little business and he builds the gadgets and stuff. So he's very, very good with that stuff. And he was watching. They were building a pool. That's also his subtle way of telling mommy and daddy, because they keep asking,
let's get a pool.
Can we get a pool? Can we get a pool? Meanwhile, it devalues the home. It's going to be an absolute disaster. It's going to ruin my side. I'm not even sure I want to take the money out to use it now. He thinks it's like $5,000, buddy. First of all, to excavate the shit is going to be $30,000. And then in my town, I don't know if you know about this. In my town, I'm sure it's like this with many town ordinances.
Yeah.
You've got to put these big wells underneath the ground.
Okay.
And people who have pools that didn't move into a home where the pool was already there.
Yeah.
They're the size of basically like cars, maybe not SUVs, but kind of like a small car. And they're wells like for leaks and floods, whatever. And you've got to have them. And I believe you've got, based on your square footage, and we have a pretty decent sized backyard. We would have to have at least 3 and maybe 4. So first it's the massive excavation. Then you've got to, and they're like $12,000 each, $12,000 to $15,000 each.
Oh,
then you got to actually get the
that's
pool.
horrible. Now I see why my mom's always thought about it, but she never actually went through with it. Now I see why.
Well, keep watching YouTube pools, buddy, because that's maybe Daddy will get a little plastic pool like I had growing up for you guys.
Come on, get the little above ground. What's it called? The octagon.
I didn't even have that. My buddy Tommy had that a couple of houses down. No, when I said
those get so gross though.
I know.
The above ground ones get crazy. If you clean it, you're good.
I know. I don't think you could really do salt water in there. Maybe I guess you could, but all the tablets now. I saw something on a commercial the other night. Now they have these tablets. Who knows if it's real, but it's like algae pools and like gross pools that are just dark. And like this woman drops in like one little like Alka-Seltzer pool tablet. And it's like, it looks like the Caribbean. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to order that. What else? Anyway, so he was watching that and he is exhausted. I could just tell he's got a game tonight too. He's like this. He ate his cereal, had his breakfast. He's kind of watching as I came down like 10 minutes after they got up because he was up until the end. He watched the whole game.
Dang, yeah. That one went late. Yeah.
Oh sorry.
My gosh.
Tough teachers. Too bad. I say it every time. I don't care what game it is. If it's a game of a team that we root for in this house, if it's a big, Jets aren't on Monday night this year or Sunday, but they have been in the past, staying up. And he's younger. Yeah. Like the night that Rodgers got hurt, he was 9. Stayed up the whole game. So he went to bed at 12:10.
I mean, and you're also like, that's not a crazy thing because you're totally right to say that because I remember more notable sports games, even from my childhood when I wasn't like the hugest fan, than pretty much any day of not college, but pretty much any day of like high school, middle school, elementary school that I ever remembered. Maybe there were 1 or 2 days where me and my boy did like a fun project in middle school or high school that like I really remembered. Yeah. But like, dude, the game, like I still remember the Celtics playing the Charlotte Hornets March 16th, 2016. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I've always said that. I have always said that now listen, other households are different. I get it. But this household, that is a memory that as long as, I'm not going to force you, but I mean, he loves it. If you are truly the sports fan that I know that you've become already and really have been, since you were born, because at that point, Daddy force-fed you everything and then you just naturally loved it. you're staying up because what are you going to learn? And listen, I'm a massive proponent of school, but to your point here, what are you going to take away some random day in 5th grade, or my daughter's in she didn't watch it all, 4th grade, or even 3rd grade, whatever. Like when the Yankees were in the World Series a couple years ago, he was in the 3rd grade. I took him to the game. when Volpe hit the grand slam. Like that whole week, we were up.
No way.
Yeah,
that's too cool.
Oh
that's
my
so
God.
sick.
I have that video. I actually, hold on a second. I have that video.
Dude, also, I have to say,
somebody just said,
after these past 2 Yankees games, dude, I'm all in. I am all freaking in. My dad will hate that I'm saying this, but because he's a Sox guy. But dude, my plan is to go to at least 10 games this season.
Attaboy. You've already made what, bro, 2 of them?
Two.
Nice,
and
dude.
Next week, maybe. Dude, that is the best time you can have. It is.
I love going to baseball games,
bro.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to find it right here. Hold on.
Avery Summit with a funny idea.
All
BT
right,
offer a free show sponsorship to a pool company if they gift you guys a pool.
Oh,
when, not if, BT unleashes big time, they'll have gotten a steal of a deal.
Hey, I'm all about it, man. Yo, if it's free,
funny.
give me 3. Throw in a little jacuzzi too. Yeah, listen, I am not too proud, man. Hold on. Oh, you know what's awesome about this? I gotta find this. I have it.
Wait,
the funniest thing about this is that the Volpe? That's a still shot. Is that guess who I'm sitting next to?
Who?
I'm sitting next to Marash.
Oh my gosh.
C-Mac. Hang on. This will be worth it. This will be worth it. Hang on. Come on, is this it? I may have cursed in here like an idiot. I'm sorry. I might. Hold on. That's after the game. I got it. I got it back to 2024. I'm gonna get some of these chats. There's a picture of Marash stuff in his face. I have a still shot of Sean eating ice cream. Oh God. By the way, did you see the picture of Evan at the Garden last night?
Yes, dude. I mean,
how does he do it?
Stirring up a little heat.
I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it, dude. I don't know how he does it. I guess I give him a little bit of credit. He's a great sports fan. This is not a knock on Evan, but I don't know how in the world he goes to the Eastern Conference Finals game 1 and he sits there and he scores a game. And not only, here's the irony of it, not only is he scoring a game, but he's scoring a game where his team gives up an inside the park grand slam. Oh, God. And Marash is tormenting him with the pictures. And he's crazy. Hold on. I have to find this. This might be it.
To me, I was just like, he's just doing it because he's a Nets fan trying to just spite the Garden in some way. He must be.
He's not a troll, Ev. He's not a troll.
He's just different.
Here it is. This might be it. Okay, here it is. All right, hold on. This is October 20th. All right. 2024.
Oh, sick. Oh my God, that's awesome. That is too.
Yeah, but here they are, C-Mac and Sean.
Whoa, that's Cole right there, right?
Yeah, that's him.
What's that chain he's got? That is sick.
Yeah. The big fat chain?
Yeah, he's got like the Flavor Flav.
Yeah, he's got all that stuff. How wild is that, dude?
Oh my God, that's so
like big games, who cares, dude? You're staying up. Give me a couple chats here. Chats.
Pull up here, wait.
Right here.
This is a decent one.
Where is when I put that? Yeah, good.
BXNYY fan 23 at BT. Did you see that Marash got slightly into it on X with Ty Butler? Not sure if you know Ty from ESPN and also does some SNY.
I've seen him on TV. Yep, I've seen him on TV.
Started a trend.
So jeez. I did see that a little bit there. I don't really know the origin of it. I saw that they were going back and forth a little bit. Hey, man, I stay out of stuff that I'm not involved in. I don't know Ty, and I never say anything about people I don't know. I like him on TV. I think he does a good job, and I've heard him on the radio a little bit. I love Sean. Sean's just a great guy. So I obviously know Sean well, very well compared to Ty. But, yeah, I saw that. I did see that. By the way, did you see – I don't think you saw this. So I'm going to speak at the Barrett Media Summit, right?
Okay, nice.
Right, it's myself and it's about creating content. So it's like there's different aspects, like running a station. There's an executive one for like PDs, like, you know, obviously guys like Ryan Hurley might speak, or Chernoff will be there. Chris Oliveira, who runs WFAM. So I see the other day, guess who's been added to the day that I'm going?
Who?
Take a guess.
Gio.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, that's funny, huh?
Hash it out live.
I don't know if we're going to be out there on the same.
No,
I
yeah.
doubt. I think Jason's. I don't even know what session it is. I don't even care. How funny is that, though?
Is that in New York?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
I did it a couple of years ago, and it was really good. I was up there with a pretty unique panel. I was up there with actually the first time I ever met him, and I don't know him very well, but Rosenberg from ESPN.
Yep.
With those guys in the afternoon with Don and Han, who I love.
You know what's crazy? I didn't, before I started doing Unleash with you, I didn't even know Peter Rosenberg from ESPN. Like, I only knew him from, what is it, Hot 97?
He's not there. Yeah, Hot 9. Yeah, Hot 97.
That's the only thing I really knew him from.
Okay,
like, I only knew him from music taste, not even sports stuff.
I could see it. I mean, he was there for what, 15 years? He was there like Ebro, right? Long time. What a run. I was a big time run there. And then I was up there with Peter. I was up there with Feinbaum from ESPN.
Oh my gosh,
classic.
Feinbaum? Yeah, of course.
Oh, Feinbaum. If I'm saying that, you know, the guy with like he's got
the head. Yeah, dude. I know the guy.
You know, but very, very good with college football. I was up there with Bomani Jones.
Yep, of course.
And one who's brilliant, and one other. It's really well done, well run. And by the way, I did see, even though he didn't say goodbye to me when I left, I did see that Boomer was that he's going to get into the Radio Hall of Fame. Good for him. He deserves it. 100% deserves it. Still never said good luck and goodbye, but you know, I don't carry that around too much. We move on. We move on. Of course, he's a Radio Hall of Famer, man. He's been doing that for a long time.
I mean,
going back to Craig, going back to Mad Dog. I think Chris would have him on.
That's what he talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. As a guest. And I think for like picks, I think that's when it started for Boomer. So congrats to Booms. What else we got here? If you had to pick one, which past ringless NBA player
This is such a good question.
All right. It does. I like the way it's presented so far. Which past ringless NBA player status would be changed the most had they won a ring? And if you had to pick one active player, who would it change their legacy the most? I'm assuming, all right, everything with basketball. Let me make sure I'm digesting that right. So the one who doesn't have a ring, if that person was to back in the day have won a ring, who would have the more favorable impact or bump in terms of perception?
It could be Ewing. It really could be.
Yeah, hold on a second.
I got my answer. I got my answer.
Go ahead. Let me hear it.
He's not, and trust me, dude, this guy is not looked at very positively now in the NBA light. Like, I will say that because of personal things. I think it might be Karl Malone. I really do.
That's a good one.
I think right now he kind of, with the personal matters, he's kind of fallen in terms of like greatest power forwards of all time. He's fallen behind Duncan. Some people would even put him behind Kevin Garnett. But if Karl Malone had a ring, especially against one of those Jordan teams, if he could have put Jordan at 5-1 somehow, wow, I think we're looking at this dude as pretty cleanly the second or third all-time power forward. I think Tim Duncan still has that one spot on his career, and he has so many rings. So it's not really a question, but I'm gonna put Karl Malone.
That's a good call. Let me see if I could even top it. Let me see. I mean, he did have that scoring record forever. Karl Malone was so freaking good. My original thought, ironically, was Stockton, just because to me, there's a dearth of great point guards. Like, if you really think about it, like if you run down all the great players, like no order, like Magic, Bird, Magic's obviously point guard, Bird, no water at all. Russell's a big, LeBron's not a point guard. MJ's not a point guard. Oscar Robertson's not a point guard. Shaq, Duncan, Kobe, not point guards. There's just not many great points. I mean, there's a couple of great ones for sure. But like you go Magic, and then, you got to get some Steve Nashes with the two.
Yeah, that was my second thought.
And the Gary Paytons, who was phenomenal defensively, and obviously Stockton's up there for sure.
Barkley.
Who?
Barkley is one a lot of people are saying.
I was thinking about Barkley as well. See, if Ewing, my answer is not Patrick Ewing, but if Ewing would have won one, and especially if it was in 94, 99 would have been different because he wasn't a real primary piece of that team. But if it was 94, that's only 21 years after they had previously won, going back to 73 with Clyde Frazier on that team. And Earl Monroe, Earl the Pearl, was on that team as well for the second championship, not the first. 2 decades, New York, punctuate a great career with the championship. Like, it would definitely have elevated Pat. I think indisputably past David Robinson and some others that are, that are a little debatable. I don't mean Shaq and those guys or Wilt or Kareem, but like that immediate next tier of centers. That's a really great question. Karl Malone's a good answer. I think Barkley's a great answer. But really, if you just think of the dearth of point guards, my answer might actually be Stockton.
I like it.
Steals, up there in steals, up there in assists. I mean, durability.
No, that would really put, you're right there. It would put him in top, like he would be in the top of statistical categories and have a ring on top of it.
Yeah. What was the second part of it? Like a current
which modern player would it change the most?
Meaning playing right now in the NBA. Modern?
My buddy's got a good one here. Harden.
Yeah.
Harden's a decent one.
Yeah.
Westbrook.
Yeah. I think Harden more than Westbrook, even though Westbrook those first 7-8 years was a triple-double machine.
Yeah, that was so. Those years are so.
Yeah, I'm just, even Dirk did get the one when they, he's got the one championship. Dirk. Chris Paul would be on that list a little bit.
He's not as great as like his peak wasn't as MVP-esque as Harden and Westbrook was, though. So it's a little different there. Chris Paul could have maybe won an MVP at some point in his career. He just played in. His height was the height of LeBron as well.
Yes. And Kobe was still playing.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I view maybe not Westbrook, but I definitely view Harden in a higher tier than Chris Paul.
So do I. By the way, I got to tell you, an active player, I actually think the answer is Jalen Brunson. Think about this. Think about what I said about the gap from the 73 championship to 94 for Patrick. That's, basically barely 20 plus years. But now tack on 20 more years. And if Brunson delivers it, now it's encompassing 40 years plus. And then the other aspect is, it's been debated nationally. Like, was it Taurasi? Which former WNBA player kind of threw some shade at Brunson a couple of years ago and took some heat? Was it Diana Taurasi? Somebody? No, it wasn't. It wasn't Taurasi. I don't think it was. You can maybe look that up.
I'm looking it up.
Somebody said it.
Becky Hammond.
Thank you. Good job.
She was the one who was kind of always in the running to be like the first woman NBA head coach. Now she's the coach of the Ace,
and was on the Spurs bench. Didn't Popovich bring her in? Yeah.
Okay. She was an interim head coach for a bit. Certainly.
I know she was. Yeah. No, Becky Hammond. Good job with that. And, maybe because of his style beneath the rim, and the Knicks haven't been, it's like they've been on this 10-year run where they're constantly dissected nationally, like I know Stephen A. talks Knicks, but like Big Perk or the NBA Show or Windhorse, like that's still, a lot of LeBron, Anthony Davis, the Celtics, Tatum over the last couple of years, right? And there's still a lot of people, and this goes back to what I said earlier, who will not stamp him a legitimate superstar unless he wins a championship. And if he wins which I think is ridiculous, as I've already gone off on today, if you missed it, it's earlier in the show. But if you do that, then even the dwindling amount of dissenting voices, right, who are not quite fully on board with Brunson, they got no choice. And now they've got to be. And now the elevation is undeniable. And, it's almost like, I don't know why I always do this with analogies. I've got an analogy problem. I don't know why I always do. I've done this my whole life. Like, I don't know if it's quite akin to like a specific wrestler finally having the strap around their belt to like validate, like maybe like when the Macho Man became the Intercontinental, or even the Warrior. I couldn't stand Warrior, but like when he had the belt for a minute, like, all right, like there's a bump up. There's an undeniable elevation. Whether it's right or wrong, And I don't even think that Jalen needs that to be deemed a superstar. He clearly is. But I will grant you this, even though I think those voices who oppose what I just said are unfair and out of whack. If there's one sport more than any sport that really you kind of do need the chip for that final, all right, let's just to push him up to that last little stratosphere, like, just to get him up there, it's the NBA.
Yep.
Because 100%. You take the most shots, you're on the court 40 minutes of a 48-minute game in the playoffs and all that stuff that we know, usage rate. I mean, Aaron Judge could go 3 for 4, but not that he did in the World Series with 2 bombs, and starting pitcher can give up 7 runs in 1 1/3, and you kind of forget what Aaron Judge did. Where if Jalen Brunson drops 47, or they could probably win the game for the most part.
Yeah, 100%. This is a good one. I like this one. Iverson, if he managed to beat that Lakers team.
He won the first game that series.
Yeah, which is crazy. The step, that was the step. I think that was the game where he did the step over Tyronn Lue.
Yes, in front of the bench, right? It was.
Dude, if he managed to win that finals, yeah, all right.
That's a good one.
I like
that's a good
on the
one.
whole, if he won a ring at any other point, like let's say at his time in Detroit, he was with them when they were good. Let's say they win a ring. All right. I don't think it means as much, but yeah, dude, if he beat that Lakers team, that would be one of the greatest championships.
That's a good one. I want to make sure I'm not missing it. Hold on. Best NBA players with no ring. Okay. I mean, we know most of we just mentioned pretty much all of them here, but all right. So I've got a little list here. Malone, Barkley, Elgin Baylor, but that was so long ago. That's a good call, though. John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing. These are the ones that come up. Now, more recently, Chris Paul, James Harden, Westbrook. We pretty much Lillard. We didn't mention Lillard. Embiid, but he's always hurt. But God, he is an MVP.
He is an MVP. I just
I know.
It's not even my disdain. It's just like, okay, let's say Embiid somehow. Let's say, okay, the year the Raptors won, 2019, the Sixers win instead. It's him, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler. They've got a squad, and they win finals. Oh my God, that would be traumatic. I wouldn't be here today if that happened. I know. Yeah. I mean, I look at that. Embiid is certainly looked at a lot differently if that happens. A lot. Like, you look at his career as a success if that happens. And not that it's an absolute collapse and a failure, but it's a little disappointing up until this point.
Yep.
But yeah, if he got a chip, I mean, a lot of the things that have happened would be validated. The Sixers would be validated.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Hey, by the way, Jay, I've got one, and I've got a list here, and I swear to God, I did not just see this name because I got to there's 20 names. I'm going to rip through them fast, and we could dissect them real quick. But there is one, and I just thought of it, and I got to tell you, it could even be better than Karl Malone. Are you ready?
No, drop it.
Given all the theater and all the circumstances, Reggie
Miller.
Yeah.
You
don't like that?
Reggie Miller's
through it.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. And my perception on Karl Malone's off too, because here's the thing. I can't answer fully on this because all I know are the numbers and the career accolades that I can look at currently. So all I can really base this off of is I know Reggie Miller's never been an MVP. I know he's not the NBA's all-time scoring leader. I know he's a bucket getter. I know he was a superstar for the time. But I guess in my mind, my perception of Karl Malone is this guy was the greatest power forward up until Tim Duncan got into the NBA. He was. Did Karl Malone ever win an MVP, or did Barkley?
Karl
Malone won.
Did. Yeah.
He's a former MVP, so that's where my mind goes towards him. But I mean, certainly if Reggie had gotten a ring at those times, I mean, if you look at the shooting guard race, dude, he blows past Ray Allen. I don't know if you already believe that he does. Do you think Reggie Miller blows past Ray Allen in terms of shooting guards all time?
No, I don't. Blows by him? No, I don't.
You would also, if he had a ring, you might put him over Harden as well. Yeah, I like that one as well.
Over James Harden? Yes.
You put Reggie Miller over Harden now, though.
I might. I actually. I mean, Harden scored so much, but see, the thing is, and I get it, and you're right. You ran through a lot of the stuff that you had to learn because you didn't see it. but like Reggie is known for his clutchness, right?
Yep.
And obviously what he did to the Knicks and all that stuff. But without that final validation, it's short of the finish line. And it's actually counter to what I've said most of the show today. But that's one example where, if you're going to be thought of as the closer, the guy, the late game money man, without a championship, it's a little less convincing. So I'm not saying he's the perfect one, but he's definitely one that I would consider. All right, I got a list. You ready? I'm going to rip through these quick because some of these don't make any sense. Rest in peace, Dikembe Mutombo. This is in descending order, 20 through 19.
Wait, Dikembe Mutombo passed away?
He did. He passed away. I believe he passed away about 2 or 3 months ago, maybe more.
Man.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Can you please double check that? God forbid. I don't want to be wrong on that.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
2024, 2022 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
My goodness. I said 3 months ago.
No idea. Oh,
yeah.
That's sad.
Good man. Did so much in Africa. Just a great guy.
Dang.
Spoke 8 languages. Man, he was. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Can't believe it, 2 years. Oof.
Yeah. For him, I guess it probably doesn't push the needle.
No, it doesn't push the needle. All due respect. Dan Issel played in the ABA. Nuggets, whatever. I'm not going to waste much time on him. Great player, but whatever. Bob Lanier, big center for the Pistons, the Bucks. All right, I know about him. Never saw him play. Dave Bing. Dave Bing is a Syracuse guy. You should know that.
Yeah, of course.
Right. He was a Piston as well. And by the way, Dave Bing wound up becoming the mayor of Detroit shortly after I left Detroit. How about
really?
That? He did. Yeah, I think he had 2 terms too. I think. But I know he was the mayor.
Was he? I mean, there's no way I know this. Like, was Dave Bing also a good NBA player as well?
He was great. Dave Bing was. I mean, this guy's even older than Like I wasn't even close to seeing him. But yes, a star. Who else we got here? Now we get down to Artis Gilmore, who was also in the ABA and a terrific big man. Yep, the big fro, good player, tough. I think he played at UNLV, but I didn't see him play there, but I think it's UNLV. And the thing about Artis Gilmore is that, you look at like Kareem and Russell and Wilt and Shaq and, Patrick's on the back end of that. Gilmore is like that barely decipherable next level, like probably with Robert Parrish and some really, really good players like that. He just Bernard King. All right. That's my guy. BK. God, I love him, man. Walt Bellamy, all right. Older player for sure. Nate Thurman played for the Warriors.
I remember,
Yeah, played with Rick Barry. I guess he played, but I guess they the Warriors, I thought the Warriors won the championship in 75. And then Barry left. Or did they lose that? I thought they won it in 75, and then Barry. I thought that they won it in 75.
Yeah, 75. The Warriors swept the Bullets 4-0. Rick Barry was Finals MVP.
Yeah, but I guess
Jamal
Thurman,
Wilkes was on the team.
Jamal Wilkes, he had that funky jump shot. I guess Nate Thurman wasn't on that team. I guess Nate was before that. Okay. Lenny Wilkins, great New York kid, by the way. George Gervin, the Iceman. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
That's a good one. Now we're getting to some Alex English, great scorer.
Yeah.
And Alex English, I remember watching him on the with Denver with those cool uniforms in the 80s. He was great. Pete Maravich, who's probably a better college player than pro player, but Pete's on the list. Number 7, Reggie Miller. Number 6. Now we'll get to all the names. Dominique.
Dominique. Whoa! I can't believe we let him out.
God, I love Dominique. Man, Dominique was one of my. That's my bad. I love Dominique Wilkins. I actually had posters of Dominique Wilkins. Man, I love Dominique Wilkins. Patrick Ewing, number 5. Stockton, number 4. Charles, number 3. You got Carmelo, number 2. Number 1. Elgin Baylor. Yeah, Elgin kept losing with those Laker teams, like Jerry West and those guys. They lost a couple, but Elgin Baylor was a great player as well. Anyway, listen, a little trip down memory lane. You still got to get 7 more wins before Brunson either gets off that list or, reshapes how people view him. But it's all good. All right, let's get to give me Benny from DC. I see the calls up there. Let's get Benny. Let's get a couple of calls here on the show. Benny, what's cooking, buddy? How you doing today, man?
BT, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Awesome, man. What's happening?
Oh, well, first, when you guys were talking about those players, I kept saying to myself, the human highlight reel. That's my guy.
There you go.
I was like, that was the guy I would have said.
Benny, real quick on Dominique. Ben, you know what I loved about Dominique? Number one was just great, and if Dominique was coming up today, he'd have a much more reliable jump shot because he would have grown up shooting more.
Oh, yeah.
His generation didn't shoot from deep. But why I loved him as a player, but really as a dunker, like Jordan had great flair, obviously, and Jordan could hit it hard too. But Dominique, to me, had good. It's going to sound weird, but if you love dunks and the history and the art of the dunk, you'll appreciate this. I thought that Dominique Wilkins had the best combination, better than Kobe, MJ, anybody, even Kemp, of like ferocity and grace, and not just ferocity when he threw it down, his legs. Dominique's legs were always those windmills. He was a different kind of dunker. He was a different dude, Dominique.
I mean, he lived up to that nickname, the human highlight reel. I mean, just one of the best. But no, I got a quick little story for you. So yesterday, what an unbelievable night. My night kind of got skewed a little bit because my wife wanted to go to the Mets Nationals game.
That's tough shit. You ain't going to the Mets National. Get too bad.
Wait.
What?
It gets better. It gets better. I promise. So at the game, and
I don't think it get worse. It's got to get better. Go ahead.
Oh, it did. Definitely. I got the game playing on my phone in a damn cup holder, and the comedy of errors happens on the field. I say, you know what? Hey, we're getting out of here. So we leave the stadium. I get to the car, and at this point, the Knicks are down about 20. I got
22 with 7:40. Yep.
So I banged about 8 minutes left in the game, and I said, you know what? I got to turn this off because I feel like I turn this off, they're going to come back and win. I literally said that verbatim to my wife. I said, if I turn this off, the Knicks are going to come back and win. So
yeah, that's funny. And just the quickest, I never say that. Like, I have no superstitions. But I get it. Some people do that. Like, they got to sit in the same spot. It's not going well. Let me flip it off, maybe change it. I never do that, but I got you. Keep going.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those people, and it's tough. But I get home, I go to the bathroom, and I'm standing in there, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up, and now it's a 10-point game. Now it's all the group chats I'm in, this, that, and the other. I stood in that bathroom with the game off and just getting updates until the game ended. And I said, I can't move from the spot. And look what happened. Greatest comeback in Knicks history.
You didn't watch it?
No, I couldn't. I felt to myself, if I turn this on, think about this, BT. If I turn this on, in my head, I'm going to screw this all up.
I get it.
You know what? For the betterment of all Knicks fans and myself and my stupid superstitions, it all worked out. But luckily, I had the game recorded and I watched it all.
I was going to say, hopefully you carved out you could just fast forward through the stuff and watch it today. Now,
oh no, I did, and it was unbelievable.
Okay, now Benny, hold on a sec. I gotta get back to the start of the phone call here. Now, your wife's a Mets or a Nats fan? First,
no. Me and my wife are diehard Mets fans.
Mets fan. I know you are, but I'm okay. Diehard. Okay. Is she a Knick fan, even on a cursory surface level at all?
Yeah, no, she is. She comes to Knick games with me. The thing is, we got these tickets a while ago because it's $5 Tuesday at Nats Park. So they got $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, all this stuff. So that appeals her, and she's like, I love that. Like, that's like our favorite night to go, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, fine, we'll go.
All right. But still, Benny, I understand, financial situations are what they are. Trust me, I get it. You got to lay down the law, buddy. You're a military man, aren't you? You got to invoke the stripe on your shoulder, man. Let's go. You got to run the house. Now, I'm not saying you got to run the house all the time. Like, there's certain things that I will acquiesce to. There's no doubt. It's a partnership, but there's certain things that are non-negotiable. You want to go watch the Go. I'm staying. I ain't going anywhere. I'm watching the Knicks. You do whatever you want.
To my credit, I part of me wanted to go and leave early and go to the bar across from the stadium and watch the game when the game started. But at that point, the Mets were up 5-0 and everything was going great. And then the comedy of errors happened right in front of me, and that's when I left. So I was catching. I caught most of the game, and then I said to myself, you know what? Let me just do myself this favor. Help the Knicks fans out, and look what happened. But anyway, I digress. What an unbelievable game. I can't wait for Thursday. I really can't. Tomorrow. Jeez, I can't wait for tomorrow night. We have a group here, the DC Knicks. And we have a bar that we go to, and there's about 100 of us that show up for every game, and it's electric. I mean, the bar has specials. It's an indoor-outdoor bar. It's on every TV. The sound. I got to give a plug to my DC Knicks crew because
shout out.
It really makes you feel like you're at home.
Yeah. Do you guys have a nickname, or do you have any like a social media handle or anything?
Oh no, I think I lost sound.
Can you hear me now, Ben? We lost him. Benny, you got me?
I can't hear.
All right, Jared, just get him down. It's all good. It's all good. We got him. We'll move on to the next call. Sorry to do that to you, Benny. Got to keep it moving. I understand that there's certain things that sometimes we're like, oh, yeah, sure. Because, if you're like me, you probably half listen. Oh, we got this coming up. Like, it's funny. Like, I'm on Game Changer literally every morning just to look at the schedule. Where's the game? Am I coaching? Am I watching? Is it home? Is it away? Which uniform? There's 9,000 uniforms. And like that, you think it's like I'm studying for my doctorate. When it comes to, hey, we've got this in 2 months. Yeah, okay, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't calculate anything because I know if it's something that I need to get out of, I'll just get out of it. So I'll yes or to death early. And then, if I got to swap out later, I'll swap out. But that is the game starts what? With 7:05 first pitch in DC. Knicks start about, comes on at 8, tips up 8:12, 8, whatever it is. You're thinking, all right, we'll watch the first couple of innings. And then now McLean's pitching, which is good, even though, the defense betrayed him last night. But I mean, on some level, I understand the justification. You guys are both big Met fans from here. You live out there now based on your military duties, which, by the way, awesome, massive respect and shout out to you and the men and the women that do what you do all the time. Thank you. But so I get it. And maybe it's not as cut and dried as I make it out to be, but, it just seemed like she's the one making that decision. And that when it comes to that is something that I could just never relate to. I can't, call me whatever you want. I just can't relate to that part of it. Knicks are trying to win a championship. I don't give a shit what's happening. She's watching every game from now on. Yeah, that's true. She's going to watch every single game. What is this here? What is it? What?
Basically, someone in the someone in the comments first. You got to read this first.
Okay, go ahead.
J-Rod
looks like a young Mike Golick. Let's get you on screen there. Let's get you on screen. A little bit. You talk about the dad? You talking about the dad or the son?
The dad.
Okay, go ahead. Mike was a pretty solid player with the Eagles. He was. He's among the great talents that ESPN screwed over. Of course, we all know that. I mean, come on. We can't. I mean, listen, I'm not going to even read that part. I'm not saying you have to get it down immediately, but, I've known Greeny, not that I'm very good friends with him, zero beef, same company for a long time. Was always cool to me. Good talent. He runs a round table, I think, about as well as anybody in the business. I think that's his best talent. He's very good at that. It did seem like Golick thought that he absolutely got screwed. That's their thing, not mine. Do you look? First of all, you're way too skinny to look like Golick.
Yeah. And he looks like he's like 6'3". This dude.
Yeah. But also strong.
Yeah, I could kind of I could see it in like the hood, like the eyes kind of deal.
A little bit. Like, no, I think that's a recent picture. I think because when I remember watching
young.
Yeah. Very similar hair.
Yeah.
Same color, same crop, same flow.
Yep, definitely.
What else you got there? Any other chats? I'm going to get back to the calls in a minute. Let's see here. Yeah, the superstition thing is something I don't know. I don't get into that. Like I told you, it came up somewhat recently, like little superstitious in baseball when I was playing. Even when I'm coaching, I try not to step on the lines. That's really it. But like sitting in a certain spot or, I get up to get a glass of water or a snack or a beer, like whatever it might be, and something good happens, I'm like, oh, can't move. Like, no. And I'm not knocking people who do that. Like that is some of the deeper commitments to sport. And I've been a pretty damn good sports fan during my life, but I don't know. I never felt like I had that kind of control over the action. Ever.
I get superstitious after the games, like where I'm like, is there something I could have done to impact this? Like if I had stood differently or if I had just like been in a different room, like would this game have gone differently? But
oh man, let me get who is that? Mets 21. Who's that guy? Mets. That might be a new one. Who is that?
Mets 2128.
Do we have a real
Seth,
name,
bro? That's Seth.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah.
Come on.
Say, let's go to Mets 2128. Let's get Seth up, man. What's Seth got to say?
Let's go.
Let's go, Seth.
Wait, let me just give him a little intro.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Seriously with that one. Okay, I can live it. Having said that, I'm going to be blunt with regards to all the New York sports that went on last night, didn't bother with the Yankee game and Met game loss. I was too zoned out, too focused on the Knick game to bother with it.
Okay.
I'm going to be blunt. By the time it was a 22-point lead for Cleveland, I was like, you know what? That's it. Knicks lose. We're not recovering. Cleveland to the finals. And then I double check back in, seeing that the Knicks are down 17. Okay. I'm like, okay, let's see how they try to come back here. And then lo and behold, they come all the way back, get the tie, though I think the shot by Brunson should have been and one.
Yeah. You get a little contact there. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then overtime happens, and I'm like, oh my God, we might actually be heading back to the finals.
Okay. Now, hold on. Let me stop you for a sec. I mean, it's one thing to be a little despondent. I can understand because I thought the game was over. I didn't shut it off, but I thought the game was over. I thought the Knicks were going to lose. Like, that's one thing. But Seth, one of the first things you said when I brought you up on the show here is, we're not going to get to the conference finals. Are you that fragile? That one loss in a 7-game series, you think it's over? And come on,
whenever it's game one with this team, they never win a series. You know this better than I do.
I mean, yeah, but don't you think this group's earned a little bit of a benefit of the doubt? The way they played and coming back, the Hawks series.
I can throw them a bone, but I'm just saying.
But you didn't, though. You could, but you didn't.
Sorry. Sure, I could throw them a bone here. But having said that, it always frustrates me because every time this team has lost the first game in a series, whether it's a 5-game or a 7-game, do they ever win the series? No. Throughout the history of this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, the 90s Knicks almost always won the first game, like whether it's the Nets, the Hornets, the Cavaliers, couple of – I know the history.
But him against, say, the Bulls, Pacers, and Spurs, they fall apart in game one.
I don't know about fall apart. I mean, but okay. Like the Cavaliers fell apart last night. The Knicks have had a couple of game one losses. I don't know if I'd say that they fell apart, but it doesn't even matter. That's back in the day. It's different players. So you don't to me, you don't seem to have a lot of belief in this team's ability to plow through adversity. That's what I'm hearing, Seth.
Oh, I can handle Well, I mean, considering I've been disappointed so many times over the last 30 years.
Me too.
I've been doing my damnedest to hold out hope that this team can actually make it to the finals, possibly win it.
Yep.
But for me, at this point, making it to the finals is all I want.
No, not good enough. That's a loser mentality. And I'm not calling you a loser, but that is a loser mentality, Seth. All you want, if they make the finals and they lose in 6, you think it's a great season? I don't.
No. I don't.
Okay.
In hindsight, I don't.
All right, just checking, man, because you're saying a lot of things that I got to check you on to make sure if you really mean them.
I've never
either.
One time they got close to it. I wasn't even a basketball fan back then. The Rockets series in 94.
Yep. How old? Hold on. How old were you in 94?
I was 6 going on 7.
Oh, way too young. Okay, I got you. Got it. Yep.
And even if I had been interested in the game, I mean, you know full well they screwed the pooch that year.
Oh God, Seth, you are a trip. I got you. No, listen, we got to stop.
In '99, when they got back against San Antonio, the team was too depleted, and you pretty much knew they were going to lose.
Agreed. I didn't think they had much of a chance at all to win that series. I just didn't feel it one bit. I knew the Spurs were better. I'll tell you one thing, and Seth, thank you for the call. Check back in. I knew the Spurs were better in 94 and 99. I knew the Rockets would be a death match, and I didn't know or I didn't think that the Knicks were inferior, and I didn't think that the Knicks were better. I'm like, this is going to be a battle, and it's probably going 7, and I hope we're on the right side of the coin. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking now. I know they're better than the Cavaliers, and I definitely don't think that the gap between the Thunder and the Spurs, but the Knicks have played well against the Spurs, Seth, and that the gap between the Thunder is nearly as wide as I once thought that it was. Now, that's down the road, but, come on, Seth, screw the pooch.
I just didn't see where my boy was coming with the lack of confidence with these Knicks, man. Come on. Are we watching the same team?
There are some people, and Seth, don't take this the wrong way. But there are just some people who are predisposed to gravitate toward the negative stuff. Like, no matter what they see, no matter what amount of evidence they've been provided with, they kind of just, it's like a magnet. It kind of it's going to go wrong. We haven't won since 73. I'm probably not going to win again. Like, I evaluate, I'm not saying I haven't had a million erroneous takes and reads over. Of course I have. We all have. But like, I always gravitate to the real. Like, all right, coming into the year, I knew the Knicks would be really good. If you go back and listen to the first show, well, not the first show, but the show with me and Sal, when he called Mike Brown the clown, when that was the first time we got into, it was the day of the season, right?
Yeah.
And I initially said 60 wins. And I'm like, that's a little bit much. I amended that quickly. I said like 54, 55. And I said they'll be top 2 in the Eastern Conference. Like, I knew they were going to be good. So it wasn't like there was this massive like reevaluation. The only thing that I've reevaluated this year is that their ceiling and their upside is higher than I thought it was a month and 2 months ago. And certainly before that, when I said, hey, let's make some trades and who's coaching the team next year, because they did not look the way I thought they would look and the way they needed to look to eventually be a champion. Now, I will say this, as great as last night was, and it was an all-time feel-good kind of a night, they have got to get back to playing the way that they were with Cat. Cat's gotta start playing better. We could go, and this is not a hit piece on Cat. I'm not flipping on a dime and saying, I'm not going back to the soft stuff, because he still did do some good things last night. But the stupid foul, which very well could have ended the Knicks' run, and somehow they were able to get around that ridiculous foul, grabbing somebody's arm and just trying to yank it out of the socket. Utterly unnecessary, number one. And also the first couple of possessions. Now you got to give the Pistons defense credit. And I knew it would be different than certainly the Sixers and even the Hawks. But the Hawks had a couple of good defenders where he got the ball early in the game, top of the circle, and like there was almost a violation, like nobody was open. They were trying to funnel the ball to him, and there was nothing there. And I guess to his credit, he didn't really force it, but you know, even in the Sixers series, some fouls early, a couple of times. Had to go to the bench. Like, he's just got to get back to the run that he was on for about a month or 5 weeks if they're really, truly going to win the championship.
Yeah.
I want him to. I hope that he will. But I don't, not that I have no confidence. I don't have supreme confidence that he will. I just don't. I've got supreme confidence that Jalen Brunson is going to ball out, whether it's the next 2 weeks or the next month. As long as the Knicks are playing, Brunson's going to be doing his thing. You know, I can't say the same about Cat, because I just feel differently about Cat. Better than I did, but, you know, I still got to see it, man.
No, that's like I was saying to my roommate this morning, because, dude, this dude's on cloud 9 right over there right now. Like, he is so hyped. And he's checked in the chat a couple times. But, like, I was saying, though, I was like, okay, that was like an amazing win. That was incredible. Let's not see that again. Like, can we not do that again? Can we not like be down 20 in the fourth quarter? Like, because I think last year it was really fun. Like, that was all, not for me, but it was really fun for the Knicks to have those 2 20-point comebacks for the Celtics. But what I'll say is, if you're a team that's going down 20 consistently in these games, that's not a great sign for like a finals winner. If you've always got to play games trying to come back from behind, which clearly has not been their MO this playoffs. Which is why playoffs have been stamp them out, beat the crap out of you, and front run a bit, not really come back. My hope for tomorrow is just, let's not do that again. Cat, let's get going early. Let's not go down 20, please.
Yep. I think, listen, if they had a similar script a couple of games here, I'd say, maybe this is just kind of who they are. But and eventually there's an expiration point on falling behind. That's not who they've been. It's an outlier for a multitude of reasons. But I would agree with that. If that's the case, then we would have an issue. But I'm not particularly worried about that here. Let me get Cat driving to the hoop. Kind of looks like a baby horse just being born. Yeah, I mean, I've always said that. Like, it's just, there's a lack of coordination, and it's like he's always kind of like off balance. So I
literally tossed my whole computer trying to mimic it.
Oh man, it's kind of like the arms flailing and like everything out of whack. It's just, but I mean, he is what he is. I mean, he's not going to suddenly become Hakeem Olajuwon with the sublime footwork, doing the dream shake. Love from London. Let's go. Knicks.
We've got a bigger London constituency.
Yes, we do. That's not. Yeah, we do. I know ST's a big fan. We got somebody else right there. Let me pop this guy up. Very uncoordinated. Sometimes it's painful watching him try to do his move. I agree. This one's interesting as well. The problem is Mobley. This is a good one. This is from Notorious Dole, I believe, 13. The problem is Mobley's too quick for Cat. Cat needs to post him up on offense and tire him out. Here's the problem with that. Cat's not a conventional post-up player. I mean, I've said that in the past here, but I've stopped saying that because it's not his natural inclination. He is at his best when he gets the ball either head of the circle or even in the corner where he can do a little pump fake and like 2 quick dribbles and kind of, even if it's a little uncoordinated, get to the rim, try to run through somebody, or he gets the ball foul line extended and he's got a little inch and he could get downhill and get to the rim and either dunk or finish or obviously shoot open threes. This is not, let me stick my ass, in your thigh, not to sound like graphic, but like just post you up and, demand the ball like Patrick. Hey, give me the ball. I got him where nobody's near you. Yeah. And then like just 1 dribble, 2 dribble, drop step, baby hook, turn the other way, baseline, 2-foot fall away. It's not his game. I mean, it's just not his game. So in theory, you're right. You'd love to see Karl Anthony Towns just put some, and Mobley's a very good player.
Yeah.
Obviously different than Allen. Mobley can shoot. I mean, Mobley's a problem. He's a good player, as we know. Allen's more of a role player, been around for a minute, whatever. Where Mobley at night, some nights looks like an absolute star.
Yeah.
We know that, right?
Yeah.
But while he's got, I'd have to guess about at least a 40-pound weight advantage in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
When you ask somebody to do something that they're not comfortable doing, you are asking for trouble. Take a guy who throws like 99 miles or 101 miles an hour, right? And he has a horrendous changeup. He doesn't even, it's not even like a good show me pitch. Like it's not even going to be a strike, but not even as a variance. He just can't throw it. And then you're playing somebody, say some great hitter who rakes fastballs and just can't hit the change no matter what. Well, are you going to really ask that pitcher who is much more adept at throwing the ball by people to deviate from what he does best and try to throw a changeup, which is horrendous just because the other guy can't hit a changeup? Like, are you going to go down with your strength or are you going to go down with a weakness here? So, to me, I think you've got to modify the strengths and be selective. Like the way he's going to be able to punish Mobley physically is when the only way is when the Knicks ball movement is, and it will be better than it was last night early, so precise that he's got a half a step on Mobley or Mobley's caught on a switch coming from the weak side and he's got the momentum and he could bang it or he could just get his shoulder into him. But it's not like old school, hey, let me post up and do a little drop step like it's 1985 at basketball camp. It's not happening. He doesn't have it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and this is the one part of Cat's game that I don't know, like he doesn't even really have, he has it. Like he certainly busted out at least once a game, but it's nowhere to the level of like the Embiid. Like even the post up midi fader isn't like Cat's best move. No. Like where he kind of does the fadeaway, get your elbow into it. The Embiid. I mean, I call it the Embiid move.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he had that, maybe he could even work that on Mobley, but it's just not his game,
No, it's not.
He's more,
it's almost like
funny. He's more of like a driving center, and his driving is so awkward.
It is. No, it is. So I'm trying to imagine the as you watch the screen, that award right there is the defender, right? What Jared's saying is like you kind of. Well, it would be the other way. You kind of go into him, go into him, and then just disengage. Well, it would be the other way. Then you disengage.
Yeah.
And I know it's all reverse, so it's hard to do that. But you get a little shoulder rub, and then as that defender kind of goes back an inch or two, now you flick it because you're as big or bigger than everybody on the court. Now it's not comfortable for him. It's just really not. Let me get Matt on Long Island. Matt is on Unleashed. What's going on, Matty? How are you today, bud?
How's it going, BT, man? Great game last night, bro.
Phenomenal. All-timer. Awesome stuff, dude.
I know. I was wearing, I don't know if you remember, but my wife is the one from Michigan, and then she was the one that was the Pistons fan, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with that right now.
Yeah, listen, that is her problem. That is not our issue there, man.
Yeah,
she's going to have Michigan football coming up. She can get excited for that.
Well, she's she's like a full-blown Knicks fan now, so it's like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. She's like,
you gonna let her in for a little bit?
I mean, she's been in. She's. I've been with her for like 7 years now. She's just with me.
Gotcha.
She's in my misery. I'm a Knicks, Mets, Jets, and Rangers fan. So
happy marriage, huh?
I've never seen a championship in my life. So it's great.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping for the best. That's why I'm very stitious. Not superstitious, but I'm stitious. I don't have
stitious.
My jersey remains unwashed. And I couldn't watch the game last night. I mean, I was watching the game, but then, I forgot who it was, but the guy got the 4-point play towards the end
Mitchell.
of the game.
It was Donovan Mitchell. What a shot that was, too. The most amazing.
No, not earlier in the game. It was like towards the end where I think it was Shamit that made the foul, and he was like in the corner.
You talking about a Knick had a 4-point play? The Cavaliers Mitchell had one for sure. Are you talking about that?
Not that one. It was it was another one. It was in the corner. I forgot who it was. Maybe Strus or what was the other guy's name? It wasn't Donovan Mitchell.
I got you. No, okay. I got you. Yeah. So it was Cavaliers.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I gotta go. Yeah, I know. I had to go in the kitchen and start washing dishes. And I'm like, I just gotta get away for a sec. And I come back because like all of a sudden I'm seeing us come back a little bit. I'm like, you know what, this is gonna happen. And I know it. So I sat on the couch. I didn't move. I didn't move a single spot. I had to stay in my spot. And I know you're not stitious, but me and my boy Benny, we're taking it for you. So we got the.
All right, man. Listen, that is fine. I am not going to criticize some stitions. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to engage in that. But yeah, I mean, if that's your thing, whatever it takes, man. I mean, not to throw cold water on the stitions here, but I'm sure that you've been doing these stitions for a while and they haven't really worked out. Like people kind of conveniently forget how often they don't work versus the amount of times that they do. But whatever it takes, man. I mean, we let's bust out every trick in the book.
Yeah,
championship.
I'm trying for our boys here, but and then you got these critics on, just like basic basketball fans just trying to say that we have no chance against the Spurs and the Thunder and acting like that's the NBA championship going on right now, which I don't think is the case at all. I think that, we can't base the Knicks talent based on this last previous game, which I think ended up being a positive for us and kind of igniting that momentum back in our bloodstream.
Yep.
I think the Knicks, and especially Mike Brown, I think he has a sharp mind on things, obviously, because he's in the position he is today.
Yeah.
But I think we have enough weapons where we can plug and play on other teams' weaknesses, because we do have a multitude of guys where we can start just implementing into the game, like Shamit last night, which I would never even think about putting him on Donovan Mitchell, and it ended up, winning us the game, I think, in my opinion. And then,
I think, listen, and I said that at the top there, Maddie. And one of the things I said, just from a defensive point of view, I mean, that's one thing, but, the spacing that Shamit brings to the court, and we all love Josh Hart. Like, I think if you polled 1,000 Knick fans, I would guess that 900 plus, he's your second favorite Knick behind Brunson. We all love him, but his one deficiency is very bad when you're down a bunch of points and they don't respect his shot. They were leaving him open all night early on. I know he had a couple of buckets inside in the first half, but with him still on the floor and them trying to overcome this massive deficiency, it would not have happened, because I don't think that Jalen would have had the space to operate. So every game is different. And Matt, thank you for the call, and check back in. Enjoy game 2. Enjoy today. And I'll get into game 2 more tomorrow. Like, one thing I don't want to do on this show is like just always automatically like push it next. Like, what's next? What's next? What's it like? Let's enjoy this. And we have. And it's been a pleasure enjoying this with you guys. And hopefully there's 7 more nights. Not that they'll be necessarily in succession, but the goal is to have 7 more nights and then 7 more days on Unleashed where we're doing this here. And I want some calls from Cleveland. That's what I want.
How do we get that? How can we get some Cleveland fans to call?
Like maybe just start a little beef with them. Like just start talking shit, and maybe they'll call. But
I think
I'm above that at this point. Am I?
Do some like Joakim Noah action to Cleveland.
Oh man, he took that back too. Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Yeah. All right, man. We went over 2 hours. I got a couple things to do here. I'm absolutely shot. My brain is mush like I couldn't remember. Was it Wade? I still don't even remember.
Dean Wade.
It was Wade, right?
Which shot are you talking about?
I don't even know at this point. Who
cares? Are you talking about the three at the end, in and out? Because that was Sam
No,
Merrill.
that was Merrill.
Dean Wade. 32 is Dean Wade.
No, I know. Not the half bang where I'm not talking about no. The crazy thing too is about the shot from the Knicks point of view. That was actually online at the buzzer. Remember Mike Brown wanted the timeout? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at that now, it was way short, but it was actually kind of, could you imagine if that would have gone through in regulation?
Jesus Christ. That would have been awesome.
All right, dude. Listen, you got your work to do. Obviously, bang out those all the different content for today. We'll chop it up in the different segments and all the other stuff. Get the likes up. How many likes we got now? I want to make sure it's commensurate with the amount of viewers. We had almost, it's going to be low. You guys got to do a better job with this. Enough. I mean, I'm here every day. Enough.
The likes now.
I'm tired of J-Rod having to get on you. But if I'm going to have to keep, having him, sick him on you to wake up and do your job, I mean, I'm here every single day. Haven't taken a day vacation. Whatever it is, I'm here. And I usually go for 2 hours. The least you could do is click a freaking button. It's the least you guys could do. It's the least you could do. And even if you don't like it, then give it a thumbs down. But just show that you got a pulse. These people just popping in.
I don't know, dude. Why am I not I'm not getting like the on video analytics. I'm not getting the
It's all good, dude.
It's
all. I mean, I'm kind of serious. I mean, I am serious, but not as serious as it probably sounded. Have a great day. Have a great day. Oh God, I'm fucking tired, man. I'm just mentally fried. I'm spent. I just am. There's no way around it. And I can't take a nap. Like that's the worst part. Jay, I am incapable.
You're talking to the wrong guy. You don't,
so
dude. No, don't be jealous. I hate that it's in my nature. I am a big nap dude. And like I find it childish. I think it's a childish thing to be.
Wow.
I'm a guy who naps. What? I got a little blankie. I got a little legs. Dude, come on now, bro. What are we doing? Stay awake. But I can't.
I understand that, but like, I wouldn't mind. Kids are at school now. I'm going to try to I'm going to get a workout today. So I don't know if I would do it today, and then my son's got a game tonight. So busy, whatever, watching baseball as well. But I mean, if I could just go in our room now and just shut the blinds and do whatever I want. My wife's like, yeah, take a nap. She's so cool with that stuff because she knows I'm grinding here. I just can't. Like I just be staring at the ceiling. I just do it. I physically cannot do it, so I don't know. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's not a bad skill set.
No, maybe it's not. But it's like I'm not saying every day, dude. I'm not a baby.
Yeah.
But like,
I hope not,
dude. But like I'd say at least once or twice a week, dude. After I'm done like ripping our clips and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll take a little hour. I'll take 45 to an hour.
Now, do you feel better when you wake up?
Oh my God, no, never.
I don't think so.
No, never. You never do because I think naps are not meant to be like I think there's another way your body is supposed to regenerate like energy, whether that's like exercise or like just eating like clean fruits or like vegetables. Like I think the nap is just something that absolutely drains you. Like if I take it for short enough, if it's 30 to an hour, all right, there we go. Like I'm not going to be super groggy, but if it's anything over hour and a half, 2 hours, the rest of your day is ruined.
Well, I mean, 2 hours at this point is not necessarily a nap. I mean, that's pretty much.
No, that's like you're getting some rest. You're getting some REM.
I mean, come on. All right, well, whatever you're gonna do, have a good time with it. Get the segments out. Everybody, appreciate you hopping in. What a night. What a win. The fun is starting. I got a little something about the NFL tomorrow that I was gonna get into today that I just don't have time to do, obviously. So I'll save that for tomorrow. Obviously, a little baseball as well. I was on Brett Boone's podcast yesterday. Go check it out. Give it a like, give it a sub. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I was the one being asked the questions rather than the one asking the questions. I enjoyed it. 2+ hours bouncing around with Brett. It was cool. So have a great rest of your day. I will catch you tomorrow at 10. Brunson, salute. Absolutely awesome. I'll see you.
Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
With your host, Brandon Tierney.